You didn't look good on TV.
Your collar is a little bit.
Yeah, see?
But
All right,
there
here we
you
go.
go. That's
Thank
better,
you.
Joe. You're
You got
welcome.
me, you got me.
You're welcome, Joe.
Because I get ready, my wife's like, she watches, all the
Yeah, of
movies, the
course,
selectment
right.
budget. And
All
she's
right,
like, why'd you
it's
wear
6
that
o'clock,
shirt?
let's
Right.
roll.
Now she won't know that I called you out, right?
All right, welcome to the September 24th Madison Advisory Budget Committee. I'm Sharon Schilling, the chair. Joe Dame is seated to my right. He is the vice chair. Sarah DiMartino, who is the school board representative. Rick Judkins on my left, who's a member, and Joy Gray, the selectman's representative to the board. Joy, would you like to lead us in this Pledge of Allegiance?
Sure.
Thank you.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Since we have 5 members in attendance, we do not need to, we have a quorum. We don't have any alternates here that we would need to elevate anyway. We're good to go.
Are there any current alternates?
I don't know that
No,
we
I don't
have
think we
any.
have any.
So either we have a quorum or we don't have a meeting. So luckily tonight we do. Joy. All right, first thing on the list is approval of the August 13th, 2024 minutes. Does anyone have any comments, additions, deletions, corrections? I have one very minor one.
Yeah, I do too as well.
I do not.
You're not?
Okay, on the equipment vehicle inventory review we went over, there was a really good list that Josh and Dave Swift put together. The CAT 920F is not a backhoe, it's the loader. That's the big loader. Yeah, just, I know it's equipment, but
What,
Just to
the
get-
equipment overview, a CAT
Yeah.
92020
it's not a
load.
backhoe, it's,
It's
Well,
a
if I
That's the-
said backhoe, then you need to,
yeah, it's a loader, it's the big loader, yeah.
and you need to,
Not that it's
Correct.
a significant correction, but
no, it needs to be accurate.
that was the one that needed the transmission, that we had the warranty, the extended warranty.
Then just, if I said it wrong.
The 420 is a backhoe, and I think the 416 as well. And that, yeah, we did discuss, if we get a new backhoe for the DPW, the existing machine would rotate to the transfer station, so that's correct. And, yeah, because the other one's worn out.
In the next paragraph under CIP review on the second line, it says what is capital versus maintenance, and to define, it has an S instead of A, the letter A threshold.
Oh, yeah.
Fingers on the wrong key.
I was gonna say, I do it all the time. And that's all I have. Does anybody have anything else? No? All right. Well, let's see.
Move to approve.
Judkins moves. Anyone second? Sarah DiMartino seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. The meeting minutes from August 13th have passed. Judkins,
That's amended.
as amended.
Yeah, just a couple little tweaks. Okay.
Okay, next thing on our list, 2024 budget drawdown. We are approximately 75% of the way through the year. October 1st will be 75%, Linda?
Yeah, the final quarter starts
Final
October
quarter
1st.
first,
Yes.
so.
75%.
Yeah.
All right, so revenues within this, around this 75% mark, so. Or expenditures, rather, sorry. Under ordinary, and I want to go back. Was it in the previous minutes that I was seeing it? When we were talking about the budget drawdown? Two things. It says Schilling requested that Chief Brooks be asked why the contract services line of the fire department budget is already over 100% spent. Do we have an answer to that question?
Well, I asked Michael, and he said that when we were doing the budget last year, he was approached to try and pull some money out of his budget, and that's where he took it from.
Okay. Interesting. And then the next line says, Schilling asked that an addendum be added that explained the lines overspent to prevent having to reiterate the reasoning at each meeting.
That was gonna be my next question.
Yeah, so I didn't see an extra column in there.
No.
Just haven't had a chance to do that yet.
No, it wouldn't be another column in that. It would have to be a whole new paper, because you can't, this is a report that comes out like that.
Oh, that's right, this was one that spits out a QuickBooks, and so you'd have to do I think we talked about doing an extra sheet to the back of it that had the explanations in it, so that me being I wouldn't have to ask you every single month, why is he 102% overspent?
Wouldn't it be easier if we just highlighted them on ours and then when we came in, pick up the new one and just cross them off? So if you already asked a question about something, it's the same percentage that it was before.
Right, and I do, for the most part, when she sends the new drawdown, I compare it to the old drawdown
Okay.
to see if it's the same,
Okay,
but,
Yeah, we realized we had the same questions meeting after meeting, and we didn't want to.
right, yeah, you shouldn't have to.
Not that there's any efficient way to
To-
capture that, to document that.
Well, you have to change, in order to change this drawdown, you gotta change the program.
Right, we can't.
well, yeah, and then there's no sense in changing the
You
QuickBooks,
can't
which
do
was
that.
why I think the resolution was going to be a page with just, a page of notes that showed the line, like, uniforms is 102.9%, right? And I think, I look at August.
Sure, that wasn't overspent then.
Right, so if it was overspent, I can look back at my notes that shows, it was overspent and here's why, but,
I think we all have like chicken scratch on all of our older things. that we
Right,
just
and-
need to like put into
and
one.
combine it into one. Is there a way, Linda, to just pull these categories out? Like just a list of all these categories, just as they exist right there? Just like this, without any numbers?
Yes.
Okay, so if we do that, and you can send that to me, I can put it into a spreadsheet, and then I can create columns that at each meeting, there's a comment for, let's go to the uniforms, 102.9%. I could put in, one column would be September 24th meeting, and there'd be a comment in there that shows why that's at 102.9%, so that next meeting, when we're looking at it, I have that list that shows it, and I can send it to you.
Okay.
Will that help?
Sure. Yep, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, if you do a spreadsheet, I would just do like a comments column.
Yeah.
And then just add it like within the cell, do a hard
Yeah,
return.
yeah.
So you don't have to have like a September or whatever. So like
Well-
you just date it, September, this is our comment, then you do a hard enter, October, this is our comment, so you kind of see the rolling comments in one cell.
Yeah. We can look this, well, I know what you're saying, I'm just being the visual person that I am, I'd like to see what comments we had in September, what
Right,
ones,
you would see them all there, yeah.
but they'd all be there, going back to say June, July, or August. They'd all be in the comments section, you'd have to sort through the dates to find which one, was this overrun in August and we just didn't ask about it, or is it overrun now in September, kind of thing. We'll see, whatever's easiest too, whatever makes sense.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I don't think this is, there's no easy way to do
There's
this, it's
no
just
easy
whatever.
way to do this, no.
Whatever
But
just
it
makes sense, we'll go with that.
it will save Linda having to explain 10 times, especially to me, because for some reason I don't always retain this. Again, expenditures and why they might be at the rate, not just overspent stuff, other stuff too. But then, talking about uniforms. DPW, uniforms 102.9%. I know it's not much, it's only $219, but do we know why that might be overspent and if it's gonna go higher for the rest of the year?
It is gonna go higher. Last year, the crew all agreed that they would do less of the uniforms being taken care of, they take care of more of them themselves. And that decision was made, the budget was cut down, and then when Josh approached Cintas, we found out that we were in a contract
Huh?
that.
Can't just
didn't-
stop having
and
them do
you-
it.
Well, right, or you could buy out of
it
the
out.
contract for like $55,000
Oh,
or crazy, I don't know,
geez, yeah.
it wasn't that much, but
Yeah.
but
Still,
you, so,
right.
You
so
still have
they,
to pay 'em.
they brought it down to the minimum that they could have them take care of, and not be penalized in the contract. So that's, it's gonna be less than the 15,000 it was last year, but it's not gonna be quite as little as they thought.
That's just the Cintas uniforms?
Yes,
That's not safety equipment,
no,
Gloves,
just uniforms,
eye
yep.
protection, that
Yep,
kind of
it's
stuff?
shirts, pants,
Jacket?
no, I don't believe the jackets are included, there's, the jeans, t-shirts, and, like dicky shirts, that a few of the guys still have and use, because we had to keep something going on the contract. But
But the Cintas comes every week, or
They do,
they
every
pick
Friday.
up the dirty, brand new stuff, yeah,
Yeah.
okay, no, that's cool, yeah.
So I'm writing these down so that again, when it goes to 107% or something next month.
it is
I'm
gonna
Yeah,
increase
the
things.
month,
gonna go
whatever the
up.
monthly cost is, yeah.
Okay, so we are under contract. That contract, you know how many years it is?
I wanna say there's still like another 2 years on it.
Okay,
Let's see, it's like, we spent. Can't get there. It's about $858 a month, based on current spending.
so you got 3 more months, so
Yeah.
you're looking at
Times
$2,400.
2573.
So it'll go to about 10,000, not the 15,000.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, let me add, the total this year will be about $10,292.
okay. Less than 15K last year.
How many sets of uniforms? How many
Oh,
the whole
Um,
crew gets?
there's 6 guys who.
Oh, okay, no, I was just curious, yeah. Because,
So purchasing of uniforms doesn't come out of that line?
No.
Does that come out of supplies or?
They really don't, they don't purchase.
they're all
Oh, 'cause
leased,
they're all
leased or
leased and
rented
they're-
from
Right,
Cintas,
right,
okay.
yeah.
They're owned by Cintas.
Okay.
Yeah, and they just, as
They
they
have
wear
their
around, they
names
bring new.
engraved on them?
Some of them have
Some have
little,
Name
DPW.
tags,
Yeah.
probably.
Okay,
but for the most part, the guys have kept the pants and returned the shirts to kind of keep a minimum of
Mm.
what they had to
they get
keep.
pretty beat up.
I know, I feel
Yeah,
like they
so,
should. be
yeah,
able
they
to
shouldn't be- should
at
have
least
uniforms.
have that, like, they shouldn't have to wash those.
No,
That's
that's-
ridiculous.
On the
Well,
dirt and
they
asphalt
decided
and-
that.
In my
The
opinion.
contract was there and they decided that.
They were being kind, I suppose.
Well, I'm not sure that they consulted their home front as to whether or not,
I don't do
right?
No,
She's
no.
like, I'm not doing
You
it.
don't wanna be bringing those home, no.
Well, no.
No.
Not dingy, tar-covered clothes and, yeah.
Okay, I don't have any questions for anything other than when we get down
Okay.
to water quality testing, it shows 0. Would not some of that, what is that? That's just Conservation
Yep,
Commission then?
every year, the Green Mountain Conservation sends us a bill at the end of the year, and we pay that out of that.
And that's for which water quality?
Mhm.
Is that lakes and
I think it's a lake, isn't it?
The
I
lakes
don't
are.
Don't know where they.
Forest Brook or,
I don't know.
okay.
Yeah, 'cause Slam does Silver Lake, they, in
Right.
the state, yeah. Maybe this is the lakes up behind the old post office or
I have no
stuff
idea.
feeding into the lake or
Yeah.
something, yeah.
Madison Falls, who knows?
Yeah, Madison
Cascades?
Falls.
Cascades, sorry,
Cascades.
Madison Cascades.
Oh my gosh, you're gonna get kicked out of town, talk about that.
I've been there, it's beautiful.
It's nice, very
Yeah.
nice.
Alright, so, cause we haven't expended anything, but you say it's a one-time bill
Yes.
at the end of the year,
Yep.
and it's approximate, probably gonna use that whole thing
They
up.
do, we already know how much it's gonna be.
Okay, yes
You
ma'am.
probably already asked, building inspector maintenance is vehicle maintenance?
The vehicle, yeah.
Yeah, the vehicle broke
Could you
down or
move to a
something.
different page?
No,
Oh,
first
never
No,
page.
it's
mind.
first
I
page.
just jumped up a little bit to the building
Oh, back
inspector.
up. Oh, building inspector, there we go.
Yep, that's his,
The truck broke
code-
down or needed.
code car, yeah.
So is he still driving that, the Tahoe?
Yeah, the blue one.
it's gray.
A gray?
I think it's
I
gray.
don't know, it's up.
It's
the
like
hill
a
there.
2015 or something, 2015 Tahoe? She's like, I don't know.
I don't know
I'm
the
lucky I
year
know
of
spring.
it.
So
Yeah.
2017.
Yeah,
2017, yeah.
That was the,
the-
I
I saw
got
him
it,
driving it today, so.
no, Bob, I've seen him out, he
Yeah.
came to my house and then he did
It's
this.
over 102,000.
Right, somebody said something to me like, oh no, he's driving a new vehicle. I'm like,
No, it's sold.
No.
if it was because he just borrowed it from somewhere else and while his was being,
That's a hand-me-down
maybe.
anyway. That was a second-hand vehicle.
yeah.
That, yeah,
It's
From
got
another
100
police department.
It's got 102,000 miles.
Yeah, yeah,
So
it's,
As of
It's,
last year.
As of, yeah.
yeah, it just needed some
It's
work
longer than
to
that now.
keep it going.
Who knows how much it has this year. Okay. But that's what that number is. This is vehicle maintenance.
Do we think it's good to go for the rest of the year?
as far as I know, I haven't heard any other issues with it coming.
We're just going fingers crossed.
When we get to CIP, we can look to see if there's a plan to replace that.
Okay.
Or at least even in the vehicle listing. Anything else on the first page?
Mm-mm.
Oh, wait.
Linda, the check did arrive.
Oh, good.
Lisa at the church told me today that she got the check, thank you,
For
for
welfare?
that food pantry.
Oh, food pantry.
Yeah,
We do a quarterly payment.
Linda sends a check quarterly.
So then is that 625?
We're still gonna pay that the last quarter.
Oh, right, because we haven't gotten
Yeah,
to the last quarter.
It's
yet.
2,500 total a year.
Right.
Yeah.
80, okay. And again, this one I do remember, the 593% over budget
For
for election
supplies.
supplies is because of the election.
Envelopes.
New ballots.
And the new,
It was envelopes for the
Envelopes
absentee
and
ballots.
absentee stuff,
Because they
yeah.
changed the RSA, so they had to change the wording on the envelopes.
Oh, gee. The state should provide it, but they make it
right,
change like that.
that's what I think. Yeah,
You
good luck
changed it, you pay
convincing
for it.
that, convincing them of that.
What
And
is
it-
the vote tally setup line?
When we have an election, we have to pay someone to configure the chip that goes in the voting machine.
Oh, wow, that makes sense.
And that's $4,000?
Well, we
it's
have
not
4
per
elections this
right.
year, right, which is unusual.
So it's like $1,000 an election, to have
Election.
them come in and program the machine. Yeah.
That we send the chip to
Oh,
them,
you
they
send
mail
the
it back
chip
to
out,
us,
yeah.
or to Michael, not us.
Does that go, I'm just curious if it goes like registered mail or something, so.
UPS does it,
Yeah.
signature, you know, like,
Yeah.
whatever they, however they
Secure
certified or however
delivery
they,
kind
yeah,
of thing, yeah. Cause, yeah, you wouldn't want that thing to get.
Don't talk about
Hacked.
it, people will be up in arms.
Oh, yeah, it is.
What's the emergency management maintenance line?
that was, I think they explained that as the
I think we did,
generators.
I think we did some
The
generators.
generator,
All emergency
annual
generators.
service on the generators, the Kohler generators on that.
I'll have to check that.
I remember that was, yeah, the generator sets,
That makes sense.
having generator connection come in and service the town hall and the fire
It
department.
seems like a lot, though.
No,
Well, we
they
have
they
a-
charge a lot of money to
We
come
have a
out, these
contract
guys.
with them,
Yeah.
and they come and do a minor thing, and then they come and do a major thing, and they actually just came the other day. And I wanna say it's like, I think it's like $4,000-something $100 a year to maintain all 5 generators, cause we
Oh,
do.
5 generators,
We do
right.
the school here, the lower garage, that garage, and
Station.
the fire station, and then next year, the library's putting in a generator, but the, I'm thinking they'll be in our account, on our account, but the trustees volunteered to pay for any of the maintenance, but it ranges from, I don't know, $700 to $1,100 each generator, depending
Oh,
on.
yeah.
Yeah, well, I would say even just my home generator is like $280 for the
It's
year.
$300 to come out and change the oil and
Check
check
everything.
it out
Yeah.
annually.
But
yeah.
now
they
that you
check the hours on
say
it.
that, when I just paid the last bill, I think I took it out of maintenance, the general government maintenance line, so I'm gonna look back and maybe I should have taken it out of that one.
Yeah, because
So
the
I'll look
last drawdown showed only $2,100 being expended.
Yeah,
So
it's
this is still the same.
Still the same, yes, I know I didn't take it out of that line, maybe I should have, but that's the beauty of it, we can change that.
Generator maintenance. For 5, right?
Yes.
Communications. 2,500, okay. Fees and dues went from 103% to 108.7. Under executive, sorry.
Yes.
We think that you're done for the year
I
with
hope so.
fees and dues, or?
I don't remember what that last thing was, but I can't think of anything else that's gonna come out of there. We did have, I remember, paid more for QuickBooks this year,
Yeah, all the subscriptions go up.
so. but-
This is probably not a subject for the drawdown, but I see under, that we have a line for office assistant, $6,000, and nothing's been expended year to date. Can't we get somebody to help you for that money? Is that what that can be used for?
Yep, yes.
Finding somebody might be the issue?
I haven't tried hard. Sometimes it's easier to do it yourself than teach somebody.
Well, that's,
feel that.
there is that too. It's very difficult to take the time, additional time to try and actually train somebody, but,
But I'll use it as a cushion on my fees and dues line.
There you go. No, keep it for your office assistant.
let's see if we can, yeah, even if somebody to file, you know?
Oh, I know.
Shouldn't be hard to teach somebody how to file, but you would think. Then again, 94, and make copies. Computer support, yeah.
And town reporter, we,
Done, that was the one beginning of the year, yeah.
Yeah.
So that $142 won't get spent.
Yeah, I remember that from the last time we spoke, we talked. Anything else on that page? We can go to the next page. Contracted services, so that's that same question I had
Same.
with Mike Brooks, but it went from 120% to 141%, so it went up another 20%. It was about $500 that,
were we looking for an explanation of what the contracted services are?
right? And, but you're saying the contracted services haven't changed. What changed was the budget line number because we were looking for, the budget line number shouldn't have changed. It should still be the $2,500, just he had less of it, if they found the money from somewhere else to take, unless during, wait, am I confusing myself? Like you, when we were talking originally, you said that he had to take a budget cut from that number. That was his explanation.
Well, he didn't, not necessarily that line, the whole budget in general. He
Right.
wasn't asked to take something from that particular line that I know of.
Okay, so
But
then
if
I
that's
guess,
where he chose to take it from, I'm not sure. But he was asked to bring some of the numbers down off of his budget at the end of last year to bring into this year. Oh, I see, what Lakeside Security, there was an annual monitoring fee for the alarm at the fire station. That was $300, different than last time.
yeah, but we're at $1,000, so that only explains a third of it.
Well, there was the iWorks, we talked about that last
Yeah, the
time.
iWorks, which was, the price went up on that as well.
And then that ESO Solutions software, that was his firehouse software, is that what they called that?
How much was that?
What's that?
How much was that?
$760.
$760.
For the firehouse software?
Yeah, where he puts in his run sheets and all that kind of thing, keeps track of that. I believe that's what that's used for.
That's the other thing I wanted to ask. We're gonna put that on the agenda when we get to it. Quarterly report.
How much was that work again?
Is that firehouse?
1,500?
1,500, okay, that's not too bad.
Well, from that department.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, cause part
No,
of
but
it
Because
is,
DPW
DPW
has
pays.
a subscription as well, and
are we using it for like transfer station, police? all the-
All the
Awesome.
vehicles. Equipment too, yeah.
Phones, I'm they're 107, I'm not gonna worry about them.
Are those cell phones or the
No, it's just a
No, the
landline.
landline?
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah, if they get ya.
This is consolidated, or?
Yeah, we actually went to, we were with First Light, and they said that it was going up, copper lines were going up, so we jumped
Mhm.
ship and went to Consolidated, and when they were like, oh, it's only, we'll get you for the same amount, blah, 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 there's gonna be some fees and things like that, and, you know,
Yeah.
but you're always like, oh, fees and things like that, you know, no big deal. Well, then I called the guy out, and I said, hey, your fees and things like that brought me to basically where I didn't wanna be.
Right.
He was apologetic, didn't realize that was really what the fees were when he was doing the sales pitch and all that kind of stuff. And then we're in a 3-year contract, so.
Tell them, eat the fees, take them off,
Yeah.
right?
So, anyway,
Yeah, like that's gonna happen.
And the Fidium installers are, cause consolidated landlines are under the Fidium fiber.
Yeah, it's
same company.
Fidium now, yeah.
Yeah, they're saying that the prices of the landlines keep going up and up and up because nobody
Less
wants to
people have
maintain
them.
old school telephone wires, so
Pots.
they are literally, they're admitting, we're trying to price you out of
One
having
even,
a.
one
Oh,
time.
they are, nobody does copper
Right.
landline anymore.
But
That might
it's
be something,
reliable.
once this contract expires, is to look at like a Fidium, VoIP, phone, business
Even-
phone.
Even voice over IP,
Yeah.
like
That's
plain
what-
old
yeah, the
telephone,
IT,
telephone
yeah.
service, POTS, the copper wire stuff, it will work,
that's what
They're-
we've,
They're,
yeah.
they're phasing it out.
They're phasing it
I
out.
think
Nobody's gonna
California
service
actually
it.
has a very specific schedule in which they're planning everybody in the entire state to be off of.
That's such
Linda,
a
quick
bad
question on like government general buildings, Eversource, the electric bill,
Yeah.
right? Do we track the money we make on the solar array up in the DPW yard?
Noreen and Russ do. Whenever we get the bills, we send them a copy of them. Russ Dowd and Noreen Downs keep track of the,
No, I'm just curious how much of a credit we're getting
No, we do
from
well.
Eversource on the solar array.
we've been doing really well. There was some months when the town hall, we don't even get a bill.
You didn't get a bill?
We get a
No,
bill.
it just seems, we're budgeting $12,000 for electric power from Eversource. I was just curious how much of a credit, we're getting from the solar arrays. I mean, that's a good size array that's out there.
Well, and part of it is
Power in
this is still under, the company that owns it is still making money off of it. So we also paid Blue Haven Solar, who is the investment company, a chunk. So we're pretty much gonna spend that $12,000 even though.
Okay, no, that's,
Because we
I
have
was
to,
just curious.
that's how they
Yeah,
make their
pay
money.
that, Yeah.
Yeah,
So Blue, whatever.
Haven Solar.
Haven came in, they own the array, they put it in, so they take a percentage of the power that's generated, the cost, their money.
Yeah, I guess that's a good way to put it. I'm not
Okay.
exactly sure of the mechanics.
So there was
of it.
no expense to the town to put the array in?
Nope,
Okay,
there wasn't.
okay, that's good.
We just maintain the area itself.
Mhm.
And then after so many years of having it, we do have the option to purchase it if we wanted to. Or you can just keep going
I was just
that way.
curious what the return was on the array.
But
How long
yeah,
have we had that?
oh goodness, it's probably going on 4 or 5 years, I bet.
Sounds all right.
It was COVID because I remember going out there for the big hurrahs with a mask on, so.
Solar.
Yeah,
Be interesting to see the numbers of like what the payback period was and what the cost benefit analysis looks like for when it's time to make the decision as to.
Yeah, like I said, Noreen and Russ, they've got spreadsheets and all that kind of stuff.
no, I was just curious on what we're actually producing and, what our return was on it. But at least we didn't put money out for the equipment.
No,
It's-
no.
It's
Nope.
the leasing company,
The investment company, yeah.
yeah.
And I would expect that the phone overage is for the same reason that the one is up under the fire department. Theirs shows a little heavier, 112%,
Consolidated and raised their prices,
and all those extra fees.
all the fees.
I wanna say there's a lot of phone lines in that number, and I wanna say that I budgeted thinking that the old number and then found out what it really was.
Yeah.
What's under town projects these
Oh,
days?
Yeah.
Everything, or.
Well, actually, all that money, the ball field, 22,000 is, I'm pretty sure most of that's sitting there. The groundwater remediation might be sitting in there, waiting to be reimbursed
From the
from the
funds.
trustees or trust fund. Let's see, oh, but we did have some big things go on. Oh, we talking
You had to
about
replace
the,
the town
projects line.
projects, 52K.
yeah.
Wasn't there something about the air conditioning?
The heat here or the air conditioning was done this year, wasn't it?
We hoped, we asked if we could pay for it this year, but it ended up that we were able to pay that out of last year.
Oh, okay.
Let's see. There was some work done to the overhead doors at the 2 garages.
Yeah, because from last month to this month, there's an additional $8,000 in there, or $7,600 in there.
If I start down from the bottoms, we did have some expenses for the playground. There was a dead tree that had to come down at the trees that, branches and things that came down at the foot of the lake, that was $3,000. There's another, let's see. Oh, we ordered the, new phone brains, that was $16.75. There's, let's see, there's some ball field stuff in there. So I like to think over the next month or so, a lot of this will get
Where's the playground?
the
At school.
preschool playground.
The new.
So that's
preschool.
the question I have, was that preschool playground, was that in the budget as a town project?
No.
And so is the school reimbursing us for that?
Well, the selectmen wanted me to pull together an amount that it would all cost, because there's 3 schools, that's a SAU
Mhm.
preschool.
Right.
And the way that tell me if I didn't kind of get this right, but wanted me to pull together a number, we'd get it to,
Bill to the.
the Whalen, Mr.
Right.
Whalen.
Dr. Whalen, yeah.
Dr. Whalen. And I don't know as though we were looking to get the third back from Madison, because it's same church, different pew, but there are 2 other towns who have students that are coming here that we could look to see if we could get, 2/3.
Do you know how much
of
that
back.
was?
Yeah, do you have a,
I want to say it's up around $5,000 at this point.
Okay, so it's not a huge amount.
and what does that take into account? Is that like,
Some of it was labor. I kind of did
yeah?
but there was material. They put down fabric
Oh,
cloth.
the fabric cloth,
And
yeah,
that
I
it
talked
was
about that at the
really
school budget.
expensive. They rented the machine to drill the holes for all the playground stuff. And they had to get Coleman bring a truck with concrete, because the way that those directions were to put the playground
Swing
pieces
stuff,
together,
right.
you had to concrete them into the ground in these big huge holes that were spec'd
They
out.
did
and
a
all
great
that.
job. I heard nothing but great things about it, so that was really.
It looks really nice.
That was
Yeah,
It does. yeah.
I was, and this would come up later under other business, I went to the school board CIP working meeting before coming here, and Heather Woodard did mention that she, the fabric, the weed fabric,
Yeah.
whoosh, weed barrier fabric, she had asked the town for what that cost, because it was not in the original, wasn't in the original design of the area, and so she wanted to be able to reimburse the town for
Yeah,
at least
she
that part of it, so.
Popped in yesterday, I saw her and we talked about it too, but I
Yeah.
told her the global plan too, so.
Well, that's nice, thank you.
Okay.
Are the overhead doors broken, old, needing some TLC, or?
Don't remember. I don't think it was anything that we were expecting.
So those are overhead doors at DPW, is that what you
Yes.
said?
So the both garages, upper and?
Yep, there was a
school?
$3,500 on the upper and $700 on the lower. I don't remember, it was back in March. I don't remember what the detail was.
Okay, but in the last month, the 7,500 difference, it should be at the top of your list. of the expenses, right?
Well, we get the $857 for the concrete at the playground. The $3,000 for tree removal at the foot of the lake beach. There's a Wilcox and Barton, that's the PFAS people for $3,800, and the phone brains for $1,675.
So the Wilcox and Barton piece will come out of the
Expendable trust fund will
expendable
reimburse
trust
it.
fund. Okay.
Did you have a specific dollar amount already for Wilcox, did you say, or?
I'm looking at 26,687.
But that's, is
Well,
that in the
total.
town project line right now?
No, no, no.
Oh, sorry,
Oh,
I missed part of the conversation, so I was looking at stuff.
is that part of the 52,000? That's,
Let's see. Wilcox and Barton should be all out of here. That one, yep, it is all, it'll all go right back into here. There's 1351, 14,399, and 7,087. That'll go back into that.
So those are invoices that we've received?
Received and paid out of
And
this
paid.
line.
Okay, thank you.
I know, we just have to send the request to the trust fund people
Correct, the
to.
selectmen will make that request, send it to them. They'll write a check, I'll deposit it and add it back into this line.
Okay.
And is that all we have to pay for them for, no, we still have the bills that we talked about last week?
The other 11?
5,300 and the 11.
Right, that we haven't started that project yet or
Right.
anything, so.
But we still have, we have still like $9,000 at least in the
Yeah,
EFT. to go-
$8,300.
Yeah, to go
back
towards
in
that.
That ETF.
16,300 have 8K plus in ETF. So literally then we're gonna have to find another $8,000 somewhere in order
Thankfully,
to.
generally, John's pretty good at, you ask him for a guesstimate, and he's pretty good about knowing how much we'll have left over at the end of the year. And it's, typically, we have at least $100,000 that didn't need to be spent somewhere, that we
Okay.
anticipated something differently, so we'd like to think that
That you'll have that money.
is,
Well, it shouldn't be, if we had 8,300, but the bills were 5,311.
Which is
Okay.
16,300, and if you have
Got
8,000
it.
left in there.
Sorry.
yeah,
Right?
Yeah.
Higher level math, right?
All right, good.
I mean, and everything is the bottom line, so.
Yeah. Okay, anything else on that page?
Yep.
Next page. DPW's contract services, they're at 150%.
Page 4,
Yeah, page 4, highways, DPW, contract services, 150%.
Yes, they did, let's see, some trucking of the loader, when we had the loader repaired, we had to get that down to CAT. We did rent the grader. It says we rented a mini excavator, and I wanna say that might be part of the, school.
Oh, for the
For the
playground.
playground, maybe,
Yeah.
I'm not 100% sure.
Do they expect that this number's gonna go up? Cause I saw the rented backhoe with the brush cutting thing on it up and down the road this week.
Oh, yeah,
so-
that may come out of contract services, yes. There is $6,000 in there for that tree removal that certainly was not expected out
Right.
on Lead Mine Road.
The grader killed us this
And
year. $3,000 a week to rent,
The grader,
the
yeah.
road grader.
Let's see, they had to rebuild their pressure washer. That was $1,500, those are the big ones.
Mhm.
pressure washer?
Yes.
What do you use that for?
Cleaning the trucks, getting the salt off them and that kind of thing.
So even just rebuilding it was 1,500?
Yeah, I guess so. That's what it says, rebuild pump.
Yeah, they get a couple notices, 109%, it's $23 in reality, but
Right.
what do they send notices about? Oh, is that the,
The road
Road closure?
closures or something?
No, actually, they were 2 job ads.
Oh, okay. So, Conway Daily, some
Mhm, Conway.
advertisement.
And then parts, looks like we're holding steady. It's kind of been at that 30,000 for a while.
Don't say that too loud.
I know, I'm worried
Right.
about what it's gonna,
Well, the old equipment's heading out the door, so we have like the new transfer station truck. The other one was killing us on repairs and parts.
I look at that backhoe up there every day I go in, it's like,
Oh, the one at the transfer station?
Yeah.
Oh, I know.
it's got Band-Aids all over
It
it.
does. I don't know how it still runs.
what constitutes road improvements? Is that like doing potholes or like ditching or?
Let's see.
My road is very improved. Mooney Hill.
oh, it's paved.
I
Oh,
know.
you got,
repaved
yeah,
it.
your road's
Yeah,
already
it's
done.
But it's
Really
washing
nice.
out in places. The gravel is washing out underneath the road. If you go further down.
At the
by-
beginning of the road?
No, down by, in the 200s, 179, 189, in that area.
Oh,
Albert Road,
Yeah.
kinda, yeah, those.
that's kind of a
I don't remember
disaster.
what the road improvement numbers were for.
So,
They've also been replacing culverts.
well, that's my next
They
question.
just did a big one on Downs Road. That was a project I have,
Well,
so.
this
Yeah,
says
this-
culverts 0 that they've expended. They had $6,000 in the budget, they haven't expended
I know
anything.
we
But-
did have some out back. We
That, I
had-
was gonna say, that's
we had
just the
some-
culverts,
Oh, you
the
had some,
pipes.
the piping.
Yeah,
for
and
it.
Yeah, you
some of-
already had some.
And some of the other, like the ones for, like Mooney Hill and those came out of the warrant article. It's a $250,000 warrant article for improving like Mooney Hill Road when we paved that.
What happened to East Madison? Did it fall off the list? Because I think there was a warrant article for Mooney, East Madison, and I think something else.
They chip sealed East Madison and Pound Road this year, right?
But I thought it was to do down from Pound Road.
They did.
No, they've done from Madison Corner up to Pound Road.
Yeah,
I
and then
thought
up
the
Pound
next
Road.
part was, because that was last year's
They redid,
warrant
they did it,
article.
right, but this year they chip sealed that same area from.
I'd
what
asked
I
Josh and he
understand.
said that was still covered under last year's. And that this, yeah, that's the meeting.
I guess I don't know.
Yeah, and then this year, my understanding was, I'll look and see if it was a warrant article in here, was to go from East Madison down towards Gilman Cemetery. I can't remember if it was supposed to extend all the way to Lead Mine or not, but that was my understanding. Because when I asked, I was in one of the select board meetings, the work on East, because there was, like you said, there was more work being done, like the chip sealing. I said, is that covered under last year's? And he said, yep, they're just finishing up the work from last year and that's included under last year's. I could have misunderstood.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
So I'm presuming they're gonna be buying more sand and salt or getting delivered more sand and salt. Is there a-
Salt, yes. Sand, we have the sand. What we
Okay.
basically pay for in the sand line now, which he reduced quite a bit from previous years, is we have to rent some equipment to screen the sand, like the
Screen it.
screener and all that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So that would come out of the sand line versus physical sand. So it's more like just the expense to take it, to get it than really buying it.
And we haven't spent any of the software computer line. Or
That was
training.
for a specific, the software computer line was for, there was a program that we used to use, I think, for, you know, like you plug your truck in and you can tell you what's wrong with it. kind of thing.
Diagnostic stuff?
And I don't believe they did that this year, it wasn't necessary. Training line?
Doesn't have any money in it. Why don't- They had no money, they put no budgeted, no money for training?
No, but a lot of it we can get,
OGT,
you know.
you hire people that have the licenses and.
But wait a minute, that
SWAT
line wasn't
training.
even, oh, it wasn't even the
Well,
budget probably because it
and-
was, other than the drawdown last month because it was 0.
And it may have been me, I may have clicked it off by accident or
'Cause
something,
it's-
but
yeah.
if it's not in the regular thing, that could have been my mistake. I think, wait, training is up somewhere else now, isn't it? In the admin line, I think?
For DPW training is
there it
somewhere else?
Yeah, at the very beginning of your drawdown, in the admin, at the administration, they did put away $3,000. It used to be in that other section, they moved it up to admin when we went to the different kind of
Oh, right,
warrant
right,
articles. So
okay.
there's 3,000, so they have spent
They've spent about half of
1886
it.
out of it. But they do a lot of the training from solid waste comes from DES, and there's no charge for those classes. Things that come out of there would be their recertification, and they did do a lot of T2 classes this summer. I knew they did do some, but I'll get that other one out of the line.
Yeah, so on the road improvements, it was Article 5 in the last town meeting, 2023. It was 200,000 for Pound Road and a portion of East Madison. And then this year, we had 250,000 set aside for Mooney Hill, Allard Hill, and East Madison. So I don't know if it was this town meeting, I don't know if it was something, but my understanding was that East Madison going towards Gilman.
See, and I was thinking that it was just chip sealing what
Finishing.
was done last year, because you have to put that coat on it to protect it that 1 year, so.
Do we have the invoices, so to speak?
Not with me, no.
But it's in there somewhere,
Oh, yeah,
in the report, yeah.
In this report, no, it's, because it was paid for out of a warrant article, so it's not in this report.
Oh, okay, right. Is that, would it be in like the ETF report then?
No, that, we don't, it would be a warrant article report, which we really don't, I haven't generated one, I suppose.
I'm embarrassed to say that I'm still trying to wrap my head around
All the different
the
pieces.
different pieces, the different, I mean, you were very kind and you stayed with me for quite some time explaining to me, this is owned by the trustees, this is whatever, and I have to go back to my notes and type them up and see if I got it right. But appreciate that you did that, so,
But
I'm
yeah.
still trying to wrap my head around it.
Well, this, so when you think about it, this was a warrant article. So,
Yep.
and then there's other there's other warrant articles that we pay out of this warrant article for all this stuff, and then we pay out of the warrant article for roads out of,
Yeah, so this is like the
different
first
report in a
3 or
sense.
4, because it also has the DPW warrant
Right.
article and the police, the emergency
yeah,
management warrant
the
article, so yeah,
operating budget, and then the
Yes.
other ones are special.
yeah, and then everything else is, yeah.
Is there an easy way to get basically the same kind of drawdown report for the warrant articles as this is?
This should be. Well, I know I can easily get like a drawdown on warrant articles, the similar to this. It wouldn't have the detail like what was paid out for each thing, the way I have it configured right now, but I'll see what I can pull together.
Anything else on that page? Page 4? Anything, we didn't even, there's insurance. Those I know are paid up front, so,
Right, we paid that at the beginning of the year.
yeah.
Excuse me. That's liability and workman's comp. And they tell us exactly how much that's gonna be.
So town total legal, town council went up about $2,000.
Yeah, we must have had Cordell's
Cordell.
bill and
Chris?
Chris Bolt's bill. But the selectmen just signed $8,862 worth of trustee of trust funds from the expendable trust fund to go back into that line to cover some of those expenses.
Is any of that the STR stuff?
That's all
It's all
STR.
STR?
Yes. That's all that can come out of that STR legal expense line.
Right. Okay. Library, nothing unusual there. Subscriptions. All right. Madison Peg TV. There are $3,000 for contractors. Is that like an end of year payment or?
I don't know. I don't know what they plan to spend out of that
Do
line.
you know, Pastor? Oh,
Nope.
put her right on the spot.
And then the equipment line is $375 overspent.
I know it was one bill for $1,628 and whatever it was that they bought.
Yeah, there was conversation about that, I think, at the last meeting,
Mhm.
that where they have money in other places.
Yeah, I mean, all total, they're only 70% of their budget spent, which is about right for where we are in the year, so. And they have a couple $100 in supplies that they haven't expended yet. Which, depending on what, I don't know what's in their supply line, like what kind of supplies.
Batteries, sticky notes, masking tape, microphone, tabletop stands, poster frame, and it looks like a one-year subscription to Kavana. It was like subscriptions.
Canva?
Canva? That's it, Canva.
Okay, that helps you do the notices and stuff.
That
It's
was
a graphics
$230.
design
so.
program. Well worth the money for that
Yes.
thing. That makes life easy.
Yeah, Rec was using a free kind of account for a while.
Wow.
I don't remember if they ended up,
I think they did buy one.
yeah, because they were using it all the time.
Okay, moving on to Parks and Rec.
Is this where the tree that came down at the foot of the lake is?
No, that came out of contract services.
Yeah, because we contracted that out to somebody to do it, or?
Yeah, I think it was a DPW, you know,
Did they
Yeah.
do it in-house though?
no, they hired somebody to do
Okay.
it. Yeah, no, it was too dangerous to get up in those trees and try and get any of that.
You need the lift and the crane and
Oh yeah, I think it was
Um,
Rotten Rock.
What?
Yeah.
Rotten Rock probably, yeah.
So that field maintenance line is gonna come out. That's gonna get reimbursed from the ball field expendable trust fund, all of that.
The whole 12,
Yep.
154?
Exactly.
Okay.
That line really shouldn't even be there, because if you notice, the budget is zero.
Zero,
Yeah.
right.
We were just kinda using it as a placeholder for now,
Right.
so that we wouldn't forget. We try and write all the notes we can, but sometimes when it stares at you, you see it.
The general maintenance, I know it hasn't changed, but I don't
It's a
have anything.
lawn
Lawn
mower.
That was the,
Long-
The zero turn.
zero turn mower, yeah. It was $4,500.
Sounds fancy.
A zero-turn mower?
Yeah.
And the sanitation, like the porta potties at the,
Yeah, that went up from 62 to 91.
it's nice to see the, like the changing room there open.
At the beach, you
Yeah.
mean?
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
Rec was very appreciative to have that open.
So, the refs and docks line is the same as it was last month, and the note I had is it does not currently reflect repairs to the raft.
The labor was free.
Right, I know
Yeah.
that, but the parts were not.
Did we get some?
Looks like there was maybe there was an orbital swivel and some quick locks and things that were $27 that were bought at Silver Lake. But I think that was the only thing that we've paid towards.
Yeah, but it's interesting that there's no change then from the
Maybe-
August, were the repairs done? Because no, the repairs weren't done until August.
Oh, maybe there
Right.
wasn't anything.
I don't know when they were done. Feels like, it feels
They were
like it was
done
a
in
month ago.
August.
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe they didn't charge anything, or it hasn't come.
Or maybe they haven't
The bill.
given them
Or
billing.
somebody bought
We
it.
would have got, yeah,
And threw
somebody
them
donated.
away, cause they just, right. Cause sometimes.
All right,
that's
so
all
that
they
has,
know.
that has a small potential to go up a little bit. I mean, I know the parts and stuff weren't very expensive, I don't think.
It didn't need much in the way of parts.
Wasn't most of the labor, the welding and everything?
Yeah.
5
Somebody
hours.
donated that?
Yep,
Yeah.
5
Yeah,
hours
some
of free welding. Thank you.
Professional welder donated?
Yep, thank you, Jess Martin.
Jess Martin, that's who it
Yep.
was, yeah.
She has a $10,000 titanium certification, so she's kind of slumming to do our little raft, but very much appreciated to do 5 hours worth of
Very
labor.
much.
That's expensive,
Yeah.
that's a big donation.
Yep.
Thank you,
Thank you.
yeah.
Okay, patriotic purposes. So we don't pay for when the band shows up for
They haven't billed us.
they haven't billed us.
Do they usually?
I don't,
I mean, we have a
Can't
line
think.
with
I know.
money in it.
I don't
would
know.
assume they did. Otherwise, why budget for
I
it?
know. I don't know if it's, I don't know the history.
Who would get that bill?
Mike, right? Probably Mike
Yeah,
Brooks.
it would come to town hall, probably, yeah.
Or it just shows up in town hall
Whoever got the mail.
in,
That's
in
it.
the mail.
Well, if we
Flags.
didn't pay our bill, they wouldn't keep coming.
True.
This is true. We have $125 in the budget for flowers and food.
I'm not sure.
Okay. And then the $500 for the Veterans Monument. I do know that in the next meeting, we're gonna be talking about replacing the chain that goes from granite marker to granite marker in the front of the monuments. Because the chain is gone. They had used a plastic one and it degraded over time. So we'll probably use part of that $500 to ask for like 40 feet of chain or whatever it is.
But real chain, like a.
Yeah, real
like a
chain,
aluminum or
galvanized.
Black galvanized or
Yeah.
something.
That line there, wasn't that always for engraving?
It's for the monument, so most of the time it had been used for engraving, but I think and
We'll have, yeah, that'll all be taken, everything will be on there, up to date this year.
yes, once it comes back.
Mhm.
So we can use that money then for replacing the chain. Okay, that last section, personnel administration, dental, drug testing, all that stuff looks fairly.
One of the things to notice on there, and Linda pointed this out to me last meeting, the medical HRA, you know, you see we budgeted
Yes.
$6,000, but we've only spent $2,469.
Yeah,
You know what?
$2,500.
We do really well on the HRA because the employees don't file a lot of claims.
if we consistently, and maybe we can take a look at this over the
Yeah.
last, say, 5 years, if we're consistently underspending that line by 30 or 40%,
Oh,
maybe
easily.
we could take it down to like 4,000. I'm not saying reduce it to the
Well,
2,500,
I
but
think the last meeting or so, I gave you a spreadsheet
You
that
did,
gave a.
it's in my
Yeah,
report that we're
yeah.
gonna
And when we
discuss later.
The first year that we started out with that, we put the entire amount potentially,
right.
it was like $15,000 or $18,000 that we put in that
Yeah.
line, not knowing how it would work, and we still were saving money on the premiums, even putting that large amount in there.
Right.
That's the thing,
And-
is,
Yeah, and this has, typically, it was what, Joe, was it $4,000 or $5,000 a year?
less than that, 30 I was gonna say it was in the
$3,300,
3,000.
$3,200. And
So,
since we have a low amount of claims, very healthy employees,
Thank you,
That-
employees.
no, thank you to employees, that means we can go with the higher deductible insurance. And they still have this financial, you know, cushion there in
Right.
case of a large claim. So
Right.
it's win-win.
Right, but yeah, but if we look at that and say, oh, on average, it's only been $3,300, then maybe
Yeah.
lowering that, I know it's only $2,000, but every time we do that, $2,000 adds up
But,
and.
no, it's a good benefit and it's not that expensive every
No,
year,
right.
so.
Okay,
Planning board master plan, we had an update to that this year, correct?
master plan newsletter, yeah.
they had a
consultant.
consultant come and talk to them about,
Updating it.
yeah, what it would take to update it.
And the police computer support includes the iWork, I think, therapeutic portion of it. I think.
It does.
Has that changed?
Police grant SC, 134%.
Yep, they
Is that
have.
the same as last time? No, that was only 113.
They have to put a number there, and then it depends what they get for grants. So that's being offset. We're receiving that money in grants, but we have to pay it out of the budget.
That's like a safe city grant or something, I forget what it,
Yeah, it said
they-
SC.
yeah, it's a safe cities or something.
Yeah, I don't remember.
And
what the
and
SEC
from last time it says we got a $1,600 must have been a $1,600 grant.
Mhm.
So this line, this police grant could go up to about $1,600.
And you know it's being offset.
And it's being
Yeah.
offset by,
FEMA or Homeland
Whoever,
Security or
right.
something.
Yeah, and I don't know which an agency is the one.
Quick question on the salary for full-time officers. We are adding a fourth officer full-time?
Not this year.
Not this year? Okay, that's why I was asking. So that will be in the 2025 budget?
Correct.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, currently there is a fourth position that's been split into two part-times.
Okay.
yeah, Chief King had, I remember during the last budget cycle, had recommended doing that because he was having trouble finding qualified applicants for a full-time position. And so he believed that if he split those into, two things would happen. If he split that into two part-time positions, number one, they would save on
Health insurance.
insurance and benefits because
Okay.
the individuals would not
Mhm.
warrant, especially health insurance. But that he,
Retirement is huge too.
say again?
The retirement.
And the
That's a
retirement
big-
contributions.
That's a
from-
big
yeah.
contribution.
Oh my gosh, yeah, it's like 33%.
I don't know if it's that high.
Yeah,
but it's
you
high.
do, it is, right?
It's
Yeah.
up, it's up there.
Well, if you go look at the RSA, it's like 33%.
It's actually
I-
going
I live
down
under
next
the RSA.
July.
Next July.
Oh.
Yeah, the town, the employer portion is going down for both employees and for police and fire. Not that we have the fire. But the employee section, the regular tier 1 employees still pay their 7%, and the tier 2 police pay
Right.
the 11.55%.
So,
And then detail, we've just had a lot of need for detail, or?
Yeah.
Detail,
extra
detail,
$500, it's like,
Yeah, same thing, they just put the money in there not knowing how many details they'll get requests for, so. I know there was one that was quite a few hours all in one row, and I wanna say it was the electric company for some reason.
Fidium. Do we get reimbursed, like if,
Yeah, that's,
That's what the detail is.
If,
right, but if,
They hire an officer, they pay the town, right?
correct.
And
they
then
pay a
So
hourly
this is-
rate per
Right,
per
it's
an
like
officer or something.
$50
So-
an hour or something.
going back to, again, this is what it cost us, this is the expense.
But we
If
get
we look at a
reimbursed.
revenue sheet somewhere,
Right.
it would show
Right,
what Fidium paid us, hopefully.
and I don't believe it was Fidium, but.
Right.
But whatever,
but-
whoever
The
it is.
electric company or the.
But yeah, we have to, it's that gross appropriation, you have to put a number there to be able to pay something out of it.
yeah,
I wonder when the last time they took a look over the last 4 years, how much in details they've done it. I mean, or do they just like pull $1,000, put $1,000 as a place marker, so.
Yeah, I
It's
don't
really
know.
unpredictable.
It is.
Yeah, but you can take an average over the last several years. and
Maybe that, I
use
mean,
the
they don't.
average.
I mean, if it's money coming in, money going out, it's offsetting. $1,000 just gets it in
Right, it
the
gives it
line,
something in the
authorization
line.
to use it.
were you gonna
No,
say,
but
Linda?
$1,000 also sets the budget, which determines your tax rate too, so.
Well, no, that's not correct. Because we get that money back in detail fees,
Sure, but you have to shell it
You have
out
to,
first.
right, you have to pay it out first.
right? I understand. But
So-
you're billing it also.
Sure.
Okay, so the.
The
87.
police were only at 69.5%.
Overall, because there
overall.
are places like publications and stuff
So
that they're not
they're in good shape.
spending anything.
I think the uniform line is about to take a hit.
I was
'cause
gonna
think-
say.
Yeah, I think the,
Well, doesn't the new chief need new uniforms? Does he get new uniforms or does he just change a
He gets some
badge?
pins and things.
Some pins.
Oh, jeez. I think maybe
But I don't
we
think
could
he
afford a
needed,
new
like,
uniform.
real new uniforms, do
Okay.
you know what I
No?
mean?
There's a different,
I don't know.
maybe just new, different emblems or something. I'm used to seeing, like police sergeants and stuff have all that.
Yeah, I don't know,
So-
he said,
Ask Jim if he's getting a new uniform. I think we could
we could
come
One
up
of
with a
the-
new uniform.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of the questions I have is under vehicle maintenance. Last month it was $3,901. This month it's $3,663. It actually went down from last month to this month.
Maybe an invoice got moved from
No,
I don't know.
category to
I
category.
don't know.
You're making me think. I think we charged something to police that should have been DPW.
Should have been DPW.
Oh.
And I think that's why we moved it.
A little
I-
accounting error, that's all.
That makes sense.
That's not that expensive for maintenance considering the wear and tear of those vehicles. You know, tires, brakes, fuel.
I know, all those high-speed chases down 41,
Down 41 days. No, but you
peeling past town hall.
put a lot of miles on those cars. I mean, they're running all the time.
Actually. Okay, advertising for rec department. We went from
Yeah, that-
255 to 279. It went up percent.
Up again.
Yeah, it went up again.
Rec hasn't advertised for anything that I'm aware of.
I see what it is. There's a $48 internet design, Alpine web design. Heather asked for it to come out of advertising, and it probably should have come out of the what was that?
Technology.
Technology.
Technology
Yep.
line.
I can switch that around.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's take something that's 279% spent.
It's only
Lower it.
$200 budget.
Let's
line,
go back
yeah.
to 255 at least.
That's the worst overspent line.
$48 is
Budget.
going to the other line item.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
for the
okay.
transportation.
Yeah.
And it's where it should be, so.
Yeah.
So they're done with all the field trips, right?
Yeah.
That's because they're.
And I still, the transportation person has been excellent in calling me. I just can't quite connect, and that is my fault, not theirs. So,
Right. And that's a new line, because it's not in the last drawdown, and there's nothing in the budget for it, but that's a placeholder for those field trips, because there's money that comes in for those, correct?
For the transportation line?
The field trip.
Field
Field
trips.
trips.
I'm a bit to field trips.
Right, you'll see there's a zero in the budget line, that's something we still gotta straighten all out, what we actually took in for field trip money versus, cost to go to camp.
Are there any additional costs for the fall, winter programs, basketball and things?
Nope. 2 years ago, I wanna say they, were able to buy all the basketballs they should need for the season. This year, they did spend a good chunk on field hockey goalie equipment,
Mm-hmm.
because they've been hand-me-downs or borrowed or, so they were able to do that, and that was a big expense.
They did that out of their revolving fund.
Oh, revolving fund, okay.
Okay.
But I think, yeah, soccer, again, I think last year they've been able to like stagger the purchases and do a little bit, so I think this year they're, I think, not expecting any.
They're in good shape then,
Yeah,
as far
for the
as
sports,
equipment and
basically,
everything? Okay.
The equipment, yeah, it should be. And one thing that was purchased, which was killing folks, is that they purchased pickleball equipment and had it to do, but nobody is, nobody's volunteering to run it or supervise it or
Manage it.
manage it, so.
Where are they gonna do that?
Where are they gonna play?
At the
Yeah.
gym, school gym.
Oh, inside, that's right, okay, so. I was thinking outdoor tennis court kind of thing, all right.
So if anybody's looking to
So
volunteer.
did people sign up to play and they didn't?
They put out asks, there were so many people who wanted, there were so many people, yes, I'm interested, yes, I'm interested, yes, I'm interested, huh?
Nothing.
They put out feelers to see who was interested, and they got a lot of people interested in doing it. But when they put
Nobody
out
wants to
feelers
do
to
it.
who would kind
Who
of
would, who actually run it,
oversee
own it,
it,
yeah.
how organized.
Yeah, manage
it
the
was.
time
turns
slots.
cold.
Yeah, that was,
Yeah.
So nobody stepped up, yeah,
Okay.
all right.
I'm looking at the transportation line. It was $1,800 last month. It's $5,000 this month.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was all the bills that came in for,
Yep, and that's
In one
on me,
month.
that's the,
The whole summer, right?
What do you mean it's on you, Joy?
because I reached out to the transportation company to try to, because there was, I don't know if it was, I have to check, see if it was email or verbal or whatever, with the rec director and the new busing company that started this summer to take over Madison, whether it's the elementary school or rec, whatever, transportation. And there was basically, it'll cost the same as last year, don't worry. It's like more than twice per trip, and it was 3 trips a week, or 2 or 3, yes, 3 trips a week. So, yeah, it was very unexpected. So, I've been trying to coordinate with the, new bus company.
To try to get that number down.
Try to, yeah,
Okay.
explain, I did, I sent an explanatory email about, here's the, what invoice didn't quite look right, here's where it was, yeah. There were some errors in mileage as well, so I sent an email with, kinda trying to reconcile stuff, and
Right, but how's that your fault?
no, it wasn't my fault, it's my job, I
Okay.
took on the task of straightening it out.
Okay.
So that's why it's my bad that it's not
But there was-
straightened out yet.
So there was $1,800 of expenses in the field trip line last month. We've now moved 624 of that to field trips as opposed to transportation.
No,
Field trip is the cost to go to the place when you get there.
The
So-
admissions.
Admission.
So-
Admission fees.
But when I asked about the $1,800 for field trips, because it was or for transportation, it was 153% last month. The note I have was this was for field trips 3 days per week this year.
The
Yes,
transportation.
the
Just
transportation
the
to
bus
get there.
Just the
part and the
transportation
driver.
part.
yeah,
Yeah.
So
bus
the-
versus admissions.
It's just bus fees and transportation. Field trip line
The
is
cost for the bus to
actually
show up at the school and, yeah.
the $10
So
to get
we're
into the
not
place.
taking any of that and moving that into field trips
No,
because they're separate from
It's the cost to get into the place versus the cost to get there. There's in 2 different places.
Do the fees we charge for the kids
do they
cover
all
some of the
that?
transportation costs as well?
It didn't, it was just the admission fees, right?
Is that it?
yep, just the cost to Polar Caves was charged.
Because you guys go to the water parks and stuff too,
Yep, there was,
right?
yep, Polar Caves,
Okay.
water parks, all of that,
But the
They were
amount that
asked.
we charge per week
Families pay for
to
that
attend
stuff.
the rec
The
program,
transportation.
summer camp,
Right, but just the.
doesn't
location.
include
Right, okay.
money for
Transportation costs.
transportation?
there is a good chunk of revenue that comes in from
Mhm.
summer camp. Part of it is in Square, part of it has come in through, Town Hall. So once we add it all together, it will be at least low 20,000s. So again, like, you know, so this shows what the budget was, but it doesn't
Right.
show what came in.
What the
to offset.
You don't have the revenue,
Offsetting
yeah.
Which is-
revenue.
Yeah, the revenue report, again, it needs information from the Square, which again,
Okay.
comes from me, so
All right.
I need to get that.
No, I was just curious if some of that transportation cost will be covered by the revenue fees.
Offset.
Yeah.
But the revenue goes into the general fund,
Correct,
so
when it comes in.
it doesn't necessarily.
Well, yeah, but if we see how much came in and you know how much is budgeted for the transportation, those kinds of things,
Yeah,
you know, you can look at it and go, okay, that's gonna offset the cost of that program.
yeah, I think what we need to do is look at, you know, look at the total, like the counselor cost and
Right.
then the transportation cost and what was our revenue, and do we truly offset or did we need to
Right.
raise the prices?
Or is the amount it's not offset by, if it ends up being, you know, just $1,000, is that,
Yeah.
is because of the
Need to ask
welfare
them
and
about
the
that.
opportunity it provides the
Yeah,
community?
we don't wanna
is it
price
worth it?
ourselves out either.
Right.
that The families won't be able to afford it.
Okay. Rec department other, you're at 0.
Good.
Which is good, yeah.
Okay, last page, page 7.
I gotta stretch after this one. My back is going.
What's the contract other?
That's the tipping fees at
At
the
the Berlin
Mount
landfill. right?
Carberry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mount Carberry or something, Canberra. And probably over in Portland at the cardboard,
Eco-
plastic
Eco
place,
Maine.
Eco Maine.
And tipping fee is, they charge us per weight or?
Right,
A
per
ton.
ton.
Yeah, per ton.
Yeah.
$130 a ton or something.
Let's see. Androscoggin Valley charges $72 a ton.
No, okay, all right. I thought it was higher.
Oh, so actually, that's all Androscoggin Valley from that line, from the contract line. That's municipal waste and bulky waste. And then in the recycling line is where we pay Eco Maine, and that's $110 a ton. Or 115, maybe it went up in April.
And that's just the cardboard and plastic. because John separates it, the guys
Yeah,
separate it.
that's that lower-
Yeah,
The
the
lower-
lower dumpster
yeah.
there,
The
yeah.
upper dumpsters go up to Mount Carberry.
Yeah.
Did you say that was 110 per,
115
actually.
per ton.
and then, gosh, we are dumping a lot more than we're recycling. And it's 70 something?
Well, because the
Seven-
recycling, they only take cardboard and plastic.
Yeah, that's all they take in
That's all they
Portland.
take. So everything else has to be handled as just general refuse.
Yeah.
and
Municipal
is-
solid
Well,
waste.
Yeah,
And
with the
it's-
exception of glass,
Glass, 'cause
aluminum,
we keep
metal.
glass,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, the metals. But
And did
everything that
you
goes in
know-
those dumpsters.
I'm sorry,
I'm
but
sorry.
you can put your tin cans in the metal thing.
I did learn
What?
that.
I
because-
just learned that because I got into a whole, I was gonna put them in with the aluminum, found out that they're
No,
not
that's a big
aluminum.
They're
no,
not
yeah.
aluminum.
And so, yeah, you put them in the metal container.
Oh, I
And
didn't
we
know
can get
that.
some money for those.
Because they are
Just-
steel.
Yeah.
they're
Yeah,
steel.
so those 2 cans that I opened with pinto beans and stuff for dinner
Exactly.
tonight, I
There
can
you
rinse
go.
out
Rinse
and
them out, throw 'em in
throw
there.
in the metals bin.
Yeah, we'll get money for those. That's
I
money
will
we
make
can
note, husband, if you're watching.
Right, tell all the people out there.
Yeah, Madison,
Yeah, we
your tin vegetable cans.
Right.
and
How
I
many
kept
stuff.
having
people
to
are
pull them out of
watching,
recycling.
Kasha? How many people are watching live, Kasha?
3 right now.
Oh,
Hey,
there you go.
Recycle your vegetable
Tin cans.
cans and soup
Well,
cans.
no, but that might be a good thing to put out on Town of Madison
Some
and Town of
face
Madison
page.
Friends
I just
Facebook
found
and
that out.
Madison Boulder and that kind of thing to let people
Because
know.
Come on,
it's
I
weight.
just learned something new.
You're saving
Right.
money because it's not going to the landfill.
Right,
We're not
it-
paying $74 a ton.
Right,
for
it's
metal
weight, it's
cans.
weight, like, just like glass, you know,
Yeah.
you're not gonna, why put it in there?
Yeah, why put it in?
All right, we learned something new. Thank you, Linda.
John
Very much.
cringes
Tin
every time
cans
he hears bottles and cans
and,
going down into the compactors.
In the bottles
Oh,
I
'cause we're
get, but the
paying
cans
money to get
nobody
rid
knew. They're
Yeah.
going in
I
my
didn't
general
know.
trash right
Yeah.
now.
No, that's good to know.
Tin cans can go in the metal bin.
Yes.
Perfect.
Big star next to
See,
them.
we learned something new.
Perfect. All right, anything else on this? We are overall at 71% of the budget, so
We're in good shape.
we're in pretty good shape.
Yep.
John usually at the selectmen's meeting will say that he thinks we're gonna meet or not meet. At the last meeting, did he say, I missed that part of the meeting, so,
We were right in line, he didn't say,
Okay.
you know, but he was not concerned.
okay, so we're right in line, that's good. And there's no like unexpected nasty things coming that would throw it completely out of whack.
Nothing I'm aware of.
Okay. Revenue review, there's where you get your. Log into Square. Right, here we go, ABC revenue review. Okay, where was last month's?
Stand up for a second.
Yep,
I'm not leaving, I'm just stretching.
nope, if you need to.
Before we dig into the next.
There we go. So last month's year-to-date report, we were at 865, now 865,000 in revenue, and now we're at 1,029,000. Obviously some of that comes from, taxes and people continuing to pay.
Taxes won't be in here.
Oh, taxes are not in here,
Nope,
that's right.
But motor vehicle fees.
Motor vehicle fees, which
That's a
I
big
gotta pay
one.
mine.
Which I contributed to that line item
Yeah, I did
already.
too.
Sale of municipal property. Transfer station fees, to get a few $1,000s out of that.
Yeah, John
So-
does really well there. $57,000 so far.
I think he's 3% above last year.
Yeah.
3%, I was
That's-
gonna ask that.
Yeah, they do really well. The guys do a great job there.
Is the FEMA grant, the 262,000,
Mm-hmm.
is that all of it?
No,
There's
No.
more coming.
all that is the Colby Hill Road.
Colby Hill.
Just the road, not any of the ditching and all the things on the side, it's
How
just.
much more should we expect?
The total was 375, and this is
375?
263.
I
Like
don't
another
know the details off the top of my head.
112,000.
So that's with everything?
I think the total request was 375K,
Okay,
and one payment has come in, the
Yeah, the
263.
okay.
But Michael, he's got hours and hours of FEMA calls and Zoom calls and all that kind of stuff he does each week. getting them.
Working hard on that. It's been for a
But-
long
Yeah.
time, yeah.
So I know that that's the July, I thought I heard him say, that's the July Colby Hill. There's still the May of 2023 expenses that are out there that FEMA hasn't done anything about yet, basically.
I can't speak. There's so many moving parts with that because we
No.
had so many storms and
Well,
But
some things
also-
were covered and some things weren't, and I
One-
don't.
FEMA doesn't cover, we send the request for 375, they're only gonna give us 70% or 75% of it. So that 263 may in fact be,
I do know that we are getting more than that.
okay.
Yeah.
And that is only for Colby Hill, because we had damage
Oh,
to
right.
all the other roads, how many, 14 other roads in
It
town at
was,
least.
it was a lot of damage.
So there's definitely more money
And
that we
then,
are
there
looking
was
to
a
get back.
delay with getting the emergency declaration for one of the storms,
The
I
May-
forget.
the
The
May
May
20
storm,
yeah.
it took a long time for Governor Sununu
Yeah, declare
to
it.
declare it before FEMA could actually move on it. So, Chief Brooks was saying, it's like 11, 12 months
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
to
Even-
work through the system to finally get the money back.
Mm-hmm.
But at least, we did get the 263K so far.
Be thankful you don't live in Florida.
I know, another big storm had,
Helene, is that,
yeah.
that's what it's
yeah.
called?
It's
Yeah.
gonna come Friday, Saturday.
Right into the panhandle,
Yeah.
big bed.
Okay, so we went from 428,000 to 517,000, from the town clerk fee collection side, which is,
And that still doesn't include taxes, like property
that's
taxes.
not
motor
property
vehicle,
tax.
that's not
Just-
property
yeah.
tax, that's motor vehicle, that went from 420 to 508, so.
So we don't have like tax collector stuff on
And,
this.
and I will say that may not have been 1 month's worth of revenues because Kate and I are responsible for taking the physical paperwork and putting it into QuickBooks, and we'll fall behind. So there could have been 2 months' worth of deposits
Okay.
that made in this one,
Into the
Jump.
one,
so.
okay.
So don't expect maybe that same amount in another month, because that could have been 2 months' worth of
No,
receivables.
yeah, well, plus you don't know how many people, because it's monthly
It's
based on
sure.
how many vehicles have to be renewed that month,
Right.
kind of thing, so.
Who has the most birthdays?
I know
I
that
was gonna
I
say,
will be
look at the
contributing
birthdays, yeah.
$1,300 of
I
that.
don't.
Usually
Michael
you
has
count
gotten my check as well.
40 weeks after Valentine's Day or 40 weeks after a winter storm, is that how you calculate birthdays?
For births.
I don't know.
Or,
Well, you'd have to go back, because you need drivers, so now you gotta go back 20 years or so, so. Anyway,
we're not going there.
we're not going there.
No.
All right, and just small jumps in some of the other stuff, so. 27,000, up 6,000 for permits.
And that could, same thing, because they collect those permits, so that could be 2 months' worth of building permits that got put in,
Right.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So they collect them for Bob. Well, Bob collects them, he turns
We
them into
collected
that.
$100 in code fines,
An additional $100, yes.
an additional $100.
So don't start building your deck before
No,
Bob issues
I-
the orange paper.
I need the sketch, I can't
Yeah.
submit it without a sketch, so.
And then so for summer camp, Square collected another
Wait,
12,700.
You
Wow.
like skipped all the way down.
I thought
to
we were,
rec.
oh, I thought we
No.
were already down the bottom. 'cause
No,
we-
sorry.
Oh, we did FEMA, so I got
I know.
confused. We jumped back
I
up.
need to go back up.
Got it, sorry.
18,000 in sale of municipal property,
That was the cruiser.
the cruiser, okay. So when I look at the CIP for months, or for at least the last several times, has only shown that we had 3 vehicles. And it just says police cruiser. It never showed the Silverado. And then when I look at the vehicle list, it does show the Silverado.
The pickup truck.
The pickup truck, it's a Silverado,
Yeah,
yes.
okay.
But the CIP only shows
3.
SUV cruiser. So it was not on the CIP? Because that vehicle was, we purchased in 2021, because or leased it, we didn't buy it outright. So,
And it may not have been the SUV, may have just not got changed. 'Cause we
well,
didn't
no,
buy
if I
it.
look at the vehicle list, there's 4 vehicles.
How many
there's-
vehicles does the police
Right.
have right now?
They have 4.
Well, we just sold
Sold the-
sold one.
Silverado, which
Correct.
a whole different subject, but, we still owed money on that, but we sold it.
Right, they paid off the loan.
I understand that. I'm not, I would have to go back and look
Yeah, I
at the
can't, I don't know.
meetings
off
for the
top of my head.
rationale, yeah, as to why we sold a vehicle that only had 20-something thousand miles on it, so. I don't know. I guess that's a question for Chief Hayford, right? But I
So
can't
are
find
we
them.
buying another vehicle this year?
Not this year, I
It'll
don't
be
think,
twenty
right?
twenty-five again, with the new officer?
At the last at the last conversation, whether it was the meeting or the meeting before that, I believe it was last meeting, yes, the intent would be, is my understanding, is to do a warrant article for next year to do a new police cruiser, do a fourth.
Which would probably be in somewhere between the $50,000 and $60,000 range, correct? Because that's what these show.
That's what you're gonna,
If not more.
And so we have 18,000 to offset that cost.
If you wanted to use it that way.
Yeah.
I mean, it could went into the general fund and you could,
Yeah. But it-
That's kind of another report. But like to have line up kind of the revenues, like which departments are bringing in and offsetting. You know what I mean? Like again, I just always come back to the example of rec, because that's just what I know. To see in one report, here's what the budget was, here's what they spent, but here's what they brought in. And yes, it goes into the general fund, but they did earn their keep kind of concept.
Well, and I think that this revenue report sort of does that
Yeah.
a little bit. That you can see without having to make a whole nother 57th report kind of thing
Yeah.
that,
You're gonna price yourself out on paper, Joy.
oh my God.
What?
I said you're gonna price yourself out
On
on
paper.
paper.
Yeah, I know. But no, like in this case, that police department brought in the revenue of the $18,000 to offset.
No, and I think
And-
we
Vehicle.
know that in the
technically
discussion.
that's selectmen's revenue, really.
was that a new vehicle
Off
that
of
was, that we,
The Silverado
yeah,
that we sold?
did we buy it new?
No, did we?
Yes, it
It
was
was.
in
That was a brand
2021.
new.
It was a lease purchase,
Okay,
right?
I thought I said it.
That was for,
The dog.
with the dog.
For the
Right.
We had
canine.
the
And
police dog.
Had the
was opposite.
ability to hold the canine.
Part of the issue with that too is that was during COVID and there were so few vehicles that were available.
Couldn't get an SUV,
That-
they ended up buying the pickup, I remember that.
So who paid off the truck, I guess, that's just.
Town of Effingham.
Effingham, because Effingham
oh, 'cause
bought
that's
it.
who you-
We
okay.
sold the truck to
Okay.
Effingham Fire
So the
Department.
value
They
was
paid off
actually
them.
$30,000
Right, so it's more than,
or so.
right, so it
But the
really is
town
more
received
than it
18,
looks like.
Yeah,
There you go.
there was $30,000 there.
Yeah,
Okay,
But
30K.
again,
right.
I'm looking at from a taxpayer standpoint, we still owed 11,000. We got 18 for it, but we're gonna expend next year, if the voters approve it, 50 to 60,000 to replace a vehicle that had less than 30,000 miles on it.
And what did it cost us originally?
Good question, I don't know.
Silverado probably $45,000, yeah.
It was I believe it was 45 outfitted, and a lot of the stuff that was on that vehicle will come back, so we don't have to spend so much on outfitting a new. So I wanna say that we spent $30,000 on the Silverado, about $15,000 on the outfitting of the Silverado. So the outfitting cost, just $12,000 alone in light bars will be
Yeah.
coming off of that vehicle that we can take back to be able to put on the
So
new
when
one.
you
Put
say
on the new-
outfitting,
the new
you're
SUV.
talking radios, all it.
Right, the computer stuff
Yeah, all the
inside,
computer stuff, okay.
yep, the light bar, things
So
like
we're
that.
gonna
will
get all
go
that back for the next vehicle.
But
Correct.
That vehicle went to the town of Effingham chief of fire, because they have a different light bar.
Yeah,
than the
that
police
was
do.
the agreement. They were gonna strip it down for anything that we could keep and use again. And then they were gonna outfit it themselves.
Okay, but again, we're gonna spend $40,000 or $45,000 for a vehicle.
But that has more use, cause I guess Jim did explain that he can't transport prisoners in that pickup truck.
That was never set up really, yeah, as a
It was-
patrol vehicle.
Yeah, and
It
it's
was for
not
the
something
dog.
that,
Yeah,
so.
the canine unit. And
We
again,
have 3 other vehicles we can transport prisoners in.
But you only have one officer usually on at a time, if you had to Do you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
but you could leave one that's available. It's a whole different discussion, I
Different
guess.
discussion.
So, yeah, and maybe I can set up an appointment because I just, on the surface, it looks like we got rid of a perfectly usable car or vehicle still, and maybe that's not the case, and I just don't have those details, but, and then we're gonna go, and in next year, in March, we're gonna ask the taxpayers to put a warrant article, approve a warrant article for purchasing a brand new vehicle again, when we just bought one 3 years ago. So, from a practicality standpoint, on the surface, it doesn't necessarily look very practical. And so, again, when you're looking at the number of vehicles and their utility and those kinds of things, that, was there a real need to actually sell that vehicle, or could it have been repurposed into, using it here? So,
And code enforcement car that keeps breaking.
right, turn it into a code enforcement car. I don't know.
You'd still be buying another.
Right, you
cruiser.
still need to buy another cruiser.
Yeah, we still need a police cruiser
Right.
for the fourth
Potentially.
officer, yeah.
Touche, Linda.
But do they?
Little shot of common sense.
Do they have to have, every single one of them has to take home a cruiser? So, and that's, again, a discussion with Chief.
I don't know the answer to that.
Right, I don't either. Seems to me a lot of other towns, they position the cruiser here, you come in here, and you are on duty here. I don't know how the department.
Yeah.
Our
Right.
guys are on call every night. And if you got a call to go to
My house,
your house in the middle of the night.
Right.
4 o'clock in the morning when
Sure.
they didn't show up. So,
Let's still talk about that.
Where did dip?
Anyway, so again, maybe that's a conversation that I need to have with the chief, or we need to have the chief come and explain how that gets managed and the rationale.
If you look at most municipal police departments and like New Hampshire State Police, all the officers have their own
They take them.
assigned vehicle.
Correct.
And there's no.
And then they're on
there's-
duty as soon as they leave their house.
Yeah, because they leave their house
Right.
with the patrol car.
I think that's usually how it works.
And there's no
I know.
sheriff or state police on duty between the hours of, I think it's 11 to 5.
Oh, jeez.
So the only people that we have to rely on are our officers. at
Right.
that
So if
time.
you call in,
What about the sheriff's department?
Yeah, I thought.
They're 11 to 5, she's
they
saying.
don't cover late nights
They don't have a night
either?
shift anymore.
Wow.
There's no officers to do it.
Yeah.
State
So
police is the
the
same
call
way.
goes out, then Jim Hayford has to
Jim or Jake
jump in
at
his
this
car
point.
and drive to the call
Mm-hmm.
from their home? Wow. Okay, I didn't realize that.
Yeah, no.
There
Mental
isn't-
note, well, sorry.
We don't have, yeah, we just don't have the upper community,
I thought
Okay.
Carroll County Sheriff covered when our officers were off duty.
when they have officers
When
on.
they have
They don't
somebody
have a
else.
night
They're
shift, they don't
working,
have a night
right.
crew on anymore.
All right.
So note for the CIP too, I'd like how the town report at least says year, make, and it does have plate numbers and stuff, but I wish like the CIP had a little bit more information, but, because it only just says cruiser.
And you don't know necessarily which one it is.
Yeah.
It looks like they have
Although
plate
by the
numbers, actually.
year.
Plate numbers seem to, but anyway. That's another subject, I got off track.
Right.
Next.
Okay.
Okay.
We still got a lot of ground to cover, so.
Right. Rec summer camp, we are at you.
All right, we're there. So through Square, families paid an additional $12,700 for summer camp itself. And that does not include, and I don't know if your number includes them, Linda, the Ospey Children's Fund supported several children this year, so that's $600 a piece, hasn't come in yet.
It's come in, it's not, it hasn't been put
Okay.
in, because it, yes.
Do you know off the top of your head? how many kids?
$5,960, I wanna say,
Oh, okay.
something like, it was right under $6,000.
Yeah,
I
that's
think Madison
amazing.
Church sponsored several kids who couldn't afford camp too.
Oh.
Didn't the church,
Or for swim lessons or for
I can't
camp?
recall.
I
I'll
wanna
have to
say
check with Lisa,
Swim
but-
lessons.
Either way, that's really amazing.
yeah, I think the
Thank you.
church, Madison Church actually sponsored several kids as well.
Oh, nice.
Like scholarships for
That's
camp.
really awesome.
Nice.
So thank you.
So we have 6,000 there, we have 12,700 through Square, and then, yeah, so that's, puts your summer camp alone, it was 10, 22,
22,000.
22,700?
So the 5,000 would be 22,000 something? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, when you add in you have the 4,000 and you add in with about the 6,000 from
Okay.
Ospey Children's Fund and then the 12,700 through Square, that puts us up at about 22,000.
You're close to
So-
covering all the expenses.
On the last report, it had a line for field trips of $275, and now that line's not here.
Right, so,
Cause that's a complicated conversation.
so field
Sorry.
trips weren't taken into consideration when we budgeted for this year. And it's, field trips, the way that we were collecting money and paying it out again, should have had a line similar to like the police detail line. Even if it was $500, we could pay for the field trips out of the operating budget, and then that money would just go in as a revenue on the backside. Well, since we didn't anticipate all that this year, I've got advice from the auditors and from the Department of Revenue on how to handle it. It's basically gonna go, we're gonna put it into just a field trip line and pay it out of the field trip line. It's gonna wash, it's not gonna affect any numbers in the budget, it's just gonna pay for itself.
We did collect $2,504 for summer camp field trips through rec.
Right, but don't
So-
you wanna know that from a revenue standpoint?
Well, it's not
It's
revenue.
really,
It's
it's not gonna
wash.
be a revenue.
No. It goes in and out.
Next year, there'll be a line in the rec operating budget for field trips, whether it's $500, whatever's there, so that we can pay for the field trips, but the students will pay that as a revenue next year, but not this year.
So we'll add up what was paid to field trips this year, all the invoices to Wales Taylor, wherever we went this year. And then create that as a budget line
Put it as
for
a
next
line
year.
item.
And then when it will be flagged as revenue next year, or?
Income,
It will
Yeah.
go in as revenue next year, because you'll be paying it out of the operating budget line,
Yeah.
just like details.
Yeah. So it'll be just like summer camp, see if it kind of offsets itself.
Right, but you don't, yes, but there's no, we don't have to pay out for summer camp, so we're taking in
Yeah,
money.
after summer camp, I'm just thinking like supplies and counselors.
Right, but not that exact line.
Right.
So, yes, so the revenue you're getting for the fee to send the kids to camp doesn't have its line, because you don't have to pay out anything out of it. That's the reason why you have to have the field trip line. You have to gross appropriate the money before you can pay it out of the budget. It has to be a line to pay out of the budget. That's what we ran into this year. We didn't have a place to pay it from.
So where did we pay the different parks that the kids went to this year?
That's the thing we gotta straighten out. When we find out how much money we actually got in field trip things, I'll be able to take the money that we have. We started it one way, got into it another way. We gotta straighten it all out once I know exactly what the numbers are, and then we can put that into a field trip income line, and then we can pay it out of the income line to the credit card.
Okay.
But right now, I think it's in the field trip line.
How, is a town check used to pay, like the swim park or Polar Caves?
It was on the credit card, so yes, a
So
town
you use
check
a
paid the
credit card for, at the admission booth or whatever?
They did do that a couple times, but there was sometimes when the places invoiced us.
Okay.
Uh,
I was
Or,
just curious how
we
we
actually got,
pay the bill.
yes, some of them were paid on the credit card, some of them invoiced us. It depended. That's why we're gonna do it better
Kind
next
of
year.
confusing, yeah. That's why I was asking.
yeah. Okay, so I should not expect to see next year a field trip line on there,
Yes,
Yes,
exactly.
you
we
There will
will,
be.
you would next year, you won't
on the
this year.
revenue.
On the revenue, correct.
A revenue
On-
neutral line, right?
Right, it'll be a revenue,
Okay.
because it'll be offsetting that field trip line that we have in the budget.
Budget.
But we removed it now.
Right, because it's really it's not a revenue. We're just paying the bill.
You're
which
just
is-
paying what it cost.
No,
One
I
for one.
understand that, but at some point we may,
Yeah, the
Let's
documentation of
move
it
on.
is.
How's it
Too
getting
long
tracked?
of
I know, how's it getting
too
tracked?
long of a meeting, let's
Yeah.
move on, we can tackle field trips some other
We haven't
time.
even started insurance.
Yeah, don't even, all right, anything else on here, cable franchise fees, they're still the same, they haven't changed,
Well, no, that won't. That's the money that we got
That's-
to pay for Mad TV at the beginning of the year.
right,
Yep, so then we won't get any more of that till next February.
next year, okay.
Even though there's no longer a contract with Spectrum,
Yep, they're still on.
are they still
They're
sending you the
on
money?
Yes.
Okay. I remember, it's been several years since there's actually been a signed contract with them, hasn't it?
It has been, but we're working with the lawyer to do it.
Oh, okay. As long as they're not holding back on the
Oh, no,
on the
no.
payments or
The only
anything.
thing that's gonna come back on that is that, especially now, I'm one of them, signed up for Fidium and I'm getting rid of Spectrum.
Oh, we already
And-
did.
So, but on your Spectrum bill, the franchise fee is based as a percentage off of the cable TV portion of your bill, not the internet bill, any of that, not the phone part of it, just the cable TV. So people like me who had cable TV and I'm getting rid of it all, my franchise fees aren't gonna be subsidizing this line anymore.
So that's
Right.
actually gonna decrease,
So,
most likely, yeah.
you know, I think that's gonna decrease.
Because most people are switching to streaming on video.
Sure,
Instead
once
of
you get
paying.
rid of the physical box,
Yeah,
we don't get any revenue anymore.
okay, all right.
Quick question on the revenue report.
Mhm.
Is this all stuff that goes into the general fund?
Mhm.
Okay, so the FEMA grant,
Yes.
that will go into the general
Yes.
fund and kind of, again, offset the
Well-
DPW expenses, or?
No, actually what we'll do is offset taxes, because when we did our estimated revenue report with the state of New Hampshire DRA, and they use those numbers, and in their magical things that they do, they use those numbers to say, okay, well, when we have to come up with $10 million for taxes, we can use that $1 million to say, okay, now we really only have to
Come up with
raise and appropriate $9 million because we got all this money this year in. And that's what that $263 will be used for,
Yeah. So
to
it'll go,
help.
Yeah, back into that, I don't know what to call it, surplus, what is it, the official word of it? Like that $1 million, like you said.
Oh,
is-
the unassigned fund balance,
That's
unreserved
the
fund
four-
balance.
The 4% that they
That's
want us to have?
Yep, that's our yes, they recommend you keep 5% of your unreserved fund balance, unretained, unreserved.
Unexpended. I thought it was unexpended
They
fund
changed the
balance.
word, yeah, and but yes, that would be portion of that.
Okay.
All right, and then, so the highway block
Mhm.
grant,
That goes into the general fund too.
general fund, and, okay.
And we'll get a room and meals tax, and we've been getting $200,000 plus the last couple of years. I couldn't find online what it was gonna be, but it's up in that number there.
Mhm.
And when I review our revenues with Department of Revenue, she always has that number, and if I haven't been able to fill it in yet, she fills it in, so.
And then, yeah,
And that's just Madison's portion of the statewide collected room and meals tax.
Yep.
That, the percentage that comes back to our town.
Correct.
That is not
Based on
a lot.
residents.
No, it's not a lot of money.
Very
This is-
little, matter of fact, compared to what we contribute.
Right, well, it all goes up to the state, they take their portion off, and whatever's
Right.
left over, they divide amongst the towns
Towns
by
based
your
on
population.
Populations per capita.
So even though we have a lot of homes and a lot of second home owners, those numbers don't count, those
The
people
money
don't
goes
count.
somewhere else.
Sure, it goes, yeah, to bigger cities.
To the
for sure.
cities, Manchester, Concord, New
Right.
Hampshire.
Yeah,
Sure,
Yeah.
yeah, based on population.
As you would expect, right. Okay, any other questions about the revenue report? Thank you, Linda, for putting this together, I appreciate it. Equipment vehicle inventory.
We had one from last month and nothing changed, so I didn't
Okay.
continue on.
Except now we don't have a Silverado, right? We sold the Silverado.
Oh, was that in,
I don't know
I don't know if that was on
the
there
DPW
yet.
list or not. Was it?
I thought it was.
I don't know. I thought it was in
Remember, I
there.
don't have my list from last month.
This is the, where is the list that I was looking at? Oh, maybe it was in the town report is where it was.
Yeah.
Okay, could we, no, this one, fire
No,
department.
Dave and
This
Josh put a nice comprehensive
Yeah,
the
list together
one
for
that
the
was-
DPW.
A narrative.
Yeah.
Police department, Silverado, 2021.
Sure, but that's not, I didn't think that was the equipment vehicle inventory, that was the narrative that we reviewed at the last meeting. No, that's the town report. And it had all, that explained the vehicles, what they were used for.
This one.
Yeah, there was a paragraph for each vehicle,
Mm.
current condition,
That one.
miles.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's the one that we,
And that Silverado wasn't in there?
I don't think so. I think those were all DPW.
That was just the
And
equipment.
it wasn't,
Yeah.
I don't believe it was a comprehensive list of every single thing.
And we don't have anything, well, last month we talked about, there should be a wood chipper and a mower on here, and they haven't added that?
There hasn't been any changes made to that I know of.
Okay. So there is no update on this. Maybe, where's the grader? Have we received it yet?
No, Tuesday. A
Tuesday.
week from today, we're supposed to get the new
Yeah, I
grader.
spoke with Dave
Maybe then
the
my-
other day.
Road can get fixed. Hey.
No, the grader actually arrived at the dealer.
Yeah, it's been
It's
in
over
Vermont.
in Vermont, getting the Craig mounts put on for the wing plows.
Yeah.
So I think Dave told me it arrives next week.
Yeah,
Is it
Tuesday.
Next week.
So
October
are they
1st we're
delivering
supposed
it
to get.
directly from Vermont to here?
And
Okay.
picking up ours.
Yeah.
And picking
So
up
ne-
ours.
yeah, a week from today.
So when an airline starts new service into an airport, they have like the fire trucks do like a spray as the first airplane
Oh, right.
lands and comes in.
As the grader
So
gets
the
hauled
fire
into
trucks
town?
going for the grader to come in.
No, as the old grader drives away, or on the back of the trailer, we're gonna be like, see ya. Thank God that's gone.
Is that still functioning?
Yes.
Yeah, are we getting are we getting money for it?
32.5.
Are we?
Nothing's changed that
Okay,
I'm
yeah.
aware of.
Just
Cross your
all-
fingers
all
here,
on the
I
trail.
know. Till
So
it rolls out of here on
We
that
do still
truck.
have the current grader.
We do?
Yeah, it's sitting
And
up in
it's
the
still
lot.
functional.
Yes. We have been very, very nice to it.
Well, it runs, but I don't know,
My guess is that it's not, seeing we just got done renting one.
because we had to rent it from Burke again.
Well, folks with the right
We
resources
risk-
will find it a good home and.
We risked completely destroying the thing and then.
Getting nothing for it.
Yeah,
It
just let
it
it
was-
be for another week.
It was gonna be
So
all
then-
or nothing. It was gonna be, I believe it was gonna be 32.5 or keep it.
Or zero.
Yeah, or junk, scrap value.
So they were gonna, so.
Yeah, so at least we're getting money and it's getting out of here next week, so. Let it be.
Oh, okay. What's next then? The CIP.
So I gave you two of them.
I saw that. Thank
One is the one, the less attractive one, is just the basic one that was last reviewed October by the selectmen. And then in December of last year, Ned,
Had done the one with the 10 years on it.
Yes.
Oh,
And
yeah, Ned
that's-
was
yeah.
really thorough.
that's the more fancy one,
The more fancy one.
and it has not been like approved or reviewed or anything like that. It's
Right.
just,
Right, which started that whole conversation last month of creating a CIP sort of subcommittee or working group, really, not a
Mhm.
subcommittee.
Which I have an update.
Which, okay, so Selectman Gray.
Okay. We have the blessing.
Approval, let's go with
for-
approval.
Well, I don't know, I don't even know if there was a vote, I don't remember, but it's just, that whomever, I think my impression from Selectman Price as the selectman's rep to the planning board was that they're still not interested in it. The
Okay.
select board is still not interested in it or has the time and whatever. I get the impression that no one else, my impression was that nobody else, still, no one else wants it. So they are okay with whomever citizens wish to help put it together and gather data and all that.
Okay,
And they had mentioned that, please don't overburden Linda and Kate for information, but I had said the goal would be to work with the department heads directly because they would be the ones determining what
Right.
equipment they have, when they think it needs to be replaced, what capital projects they have, $10,000 and over.
okay.
Are they working with this model currently? What do you work with, if you had a problem coming into this budget season, what are you gonna look to for guidance?
Define
This
problem.
Or this?
They
Well-
weren't looking at either one of them.
well, they approved this, the not as pretty one, in October of last year.
This one,
October 2023.
No, that's
No.
Ned's. The not as pretty one is the
The one that's
shorter
not
version.
quite as many columns and things.
This is the, this
So
is
this is the
the,
basic version, yeah.
Yes, the
if there's an
selectmen.
official one, this is it?
Yes, that's what the selectmen have approved. They talked about it at their meeting on the 10th of October last year.
Okay.
And then the Ned's was just, he took this and kind of added more information, added more lines for years. It's essentially, from what I gather, a lot of the same information but more.
right.
It's
Well,
a
and
great-
additional
It's
pieces,
a great framework to work from,
absolutely.
because that's what you wanna see, maybe even more than 10 years. And you can jump out 5,
Yeah.
so here, but,
John Naruto, Selectman Naruto said he would very much like to see it go 20 years, if
Yes,
possible.
right.
You don't
It
have to
should-
print the
it
whole
should
20
be.
years, because
It
it's not
should
gonna
be
fit.
20 years, but at some point you have to,
We need the 14-inch paper.
you start off and you got a piece of equipment that you're not gonna start funding for 3 or 4 years, that's when you wanna start plugging it in, but it should go out 20.
Yep, so we definitely need to add projects to it as well. We need to flesh it out with all of the equipment, but then
Right.
add any projects.
But the framework is also, this is a good
Yes.
framework.
No, Ned really took ownership of this and did a good job on it for several years,
It's very, very well laid out.
yeah.
Right, so where we stand then is, in order to keep this moving, because the planning board and the selectmen are not going to continue to update this. They will probably, if we were to present, we wanted to form a working group that had a planning board member, an advisory budget committee member, and a selectman on that,
My understanding is the planning board and selectmen have declined
right.
participation, and whomever, whatever citizens wish to assist on the project.
Okay,
are
so
welcome to do so.
we, as then the budget committee, advisory budget committee, do have an interest in maintaining this and keeping it going forward. And so what I would ask is, whom among us at the table, Elwin and Josh are not here, but, and we can check with them.
Can we nominate them?
That's how it works. You don't show up,
You don't
you
show
You
don't
get
sign the word.
nominated. That's
Thank
not
God I
fun.
showed up today. Because
That's
I'm
not
not
necessarily,
interested.
but at any rate,
One thing that I'll recommend too is that going back over the town reports, there
Not that
did
I'm
used to
not
be
interested, I'm just
a
No.
CIP committee
right,
in the
wrap my
early,
head around it.
I'll look up the dates, but they put together like a 6 to 8 page report in every annual report that had like 6 pages of prose, kind of, you know, the report kind of like verbalizing what the plan was, and then 2 pages of spreadsheets like this, that kind of had this piece of the plan. Really good information. So I think it's kind of worth it visiting both pieces of it. Like the spreadsheet is the numbers, and that's of big interest, but also to have
a
a
narrative that
document,
goes with
thank
it.
you, that's the word, yes, a narrative to say, these are the projects we have coming up, these are the ones that we're going to put into this year and why, these are the ones that we're gonna put off to this year and why. So, yeah, good chunk of work. They had
Yes.
the committees were like 7 people.
Well, 2 things. One is, for the 3 people who are watching, if we still have 3 people,
3 people
we're done with
We're
one.
down to one.
Okay,
What's
for
8
the person
o'clock?
who's
Yeah.
watching, if you're interested in supporting this capital improvement plan, please reach out to Town Hall. You can reach out to Linda. Linda will direct you to us. I would like to start moving forward with this because I don't think that the town can really, I mean, one of the things that John Aruda constantly talks about is not having those big, huge swings in taxes. So if you can plan better and methodically for replacement of the things you do know, obviously there's always gonna be something you don't know that comes up, like a storm that takes out Colby Hill Road. You can't capital
things
improve
like-
your way out of that.
The groundwater remediation, I went back and looked at the October 3rd, 2023 meeting where the first time Wilcox and Barton came and spoke and explained the project and all that other stuff. And kind of lost in the fine print was that they said the total cost of including remediation is a 6-figure deal.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah, no
So we
doubt.
need to figure that 6 figures as a project in the capital improvement program and plan. So there are things like that that we need to consider. And are we still looking to replace the floors upstairs? Like that's, keeps getting kicked down the
I know.
road, but it's
Yeah.
it's a
But it
project, it
needs
would
to
be
be done.
$10,000, right?
Right. And we've been putting it into the projects line each year, but then you end up taking down a $6,000 tree and then that goes away or whatever.
Yeah.
But I'm looking at seeing when we get closer to the end of the year, if there would be something that maybe we can encumber. It's not the end of the world if we don't get the floor replaced upstairs, but
Yeah.
it's been 20 years and there are pieces that are starting to chip out of
Mhm.
it, so.
Yeah.
But
And then the porch,
that, that's not even on really
The porch
a
needs to be
radar
redone
anymore.
This one
out
here?
there. Oh, yeah,
This
the
one?
wood's
Yeah.
The
rotted
front,
out
both,
and
the
everything.
front porch too.
Front
Oh,
porch
okay.
too.
Both porches really
Yeah,
do
we
need
need to,
some
we
attention.
need to hand that on
yes,
a
so we'll
plan.
need.
Great, that needs to
estimate
be
put
in
on the
here.
plan.
So, yeah, there's projects.
So
I
let me
mean, we
know.
talked about it, that heating system.
The
It's
only
20
thing, you know,
years
when you
old.
get into that
Do you
detail,
wanna start a list of like town hall specific ones that you,
kind
a
of
wish,
set it
or
up
a wish
as
list
a
or a, you know, again,
building
like
maintenance
prioritizing them,
projects
right?
or something.
Okay, so, is there currently anybody at the table who wants to work with this, who wants to volunteer?
I do not
Well,
have
I
enough
do.
on my plate in life,
Yeah, I
so
know.
I would be happy to
Um,
help. No, I'm serious,
No,
I'm serious, I love spreadsheets.
I've been doing this stuff already, working with DPW
Yeah, you're
on
getting
equipment and
started,
stuff, so.
And we're not, it would not be a decision-making group.
No,
It is
but
No,
just a
it's
data
at least we
gathering.
data
could flesh this
gathering
out,
to
yeah.
put this form together and the narrative that goes with it to be presented to the budget committee and then to the selectmen so that they have visibility of this. I'm
The,
quite frankly shocked.
the only thing, you know, once we get into the detail of we're looking at like 10+ years, I think we're gonna be shocked at the cost.
Oh, I'm
Oh.
not gonna be shocked.
No,
I know
I
what's
mean, you're gonna
coming.
see real numbers on there going, wow.
Yes.
And then
Yes.
you spoke with
Yeah.
Cordell and confirmed that because it's not appointed by the select board, it is just citizens gathering data, it's not.
It's not, we
Not
don't
a,
have to
not
go
a
through the
committee that
minutes and
needs to sit in front of
televise.
a
No-
camera, it's
no
just a
minutes,
working
no
group
nothing.
that's
You-
just.
We can just
We
meet
could
here
do
at the table and.
Wherever.
Do it in your kitchen, you don't, it's not a
and
town.
Bring a laptop and start
Okay.
adding lines, okay,
Okay.
it doesn't have to be an official meeting. or
Sarah, if
anything.
it's on
Not
my
at all.
porch, will you?
No, that's what I mean,
will-
yeah.
Will we get you on board with that?
I'll go to, one person just invited someone.
Did they?
There you go. They're like, hey, they're doing it with CIP, you might wanna, okay, so
All right,
right
so-
now it's Joe,
Yeah,
and I'm happy to participate as well.
Joy, we
Joe-
all work together.
Joe,
so-
Joy, and Sharon,
And,
and then whoever else from any of the other,
you know, Ned,
Wait,
but if the three of us get together, it could be considered,
No, you need four, just,
okay,
there's 7 on your committee, so you need 4 to
Oh,
have a
okay.
quorum. So 3 of you can get together,
okay.
but be careful if another 4th person decides they want to
oh,
help you
then,
from the budget
okay,
committee.
so
because
if we're
then you're-
just, okay, I get it.
But if all we're talking about is
I know
the
the other
CIP.
4 are
Jim
gonna
Curran,
be.
he'll do it too, put him on there.
I was just with him, talking about the school CIP, so I'm not gonna volunteer for
Jim,
this one.
they have a good plan.
I know the other 4 members are gonna wanna come crash the
Good.
party,
No,
but
they-
apparently.
the school does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're at least got that
But not
part
all
of
at
it.
once.
I'd like to see that we start to move forward with this, so I don't know if we want to
No, that's fine.
take a look in October, if there's a time
Can-
frame or a date to get together to start.
Do you have the
Coordinate
actual
that offline.
spreadsheet from Ned,
I do,
like an
yeah.
Excel?
I do,
Yeah.
I'll send it
So-
out.
Will you send it to us?
I'm friends with Ned as well, if we need information from him or something, I can ask him.
What, you're
But,
pulling Ned out of retirement? Is that what I
That's my
heard?
neighbor with
Right.
us.
Ask
He
Ned
still,
if he wants.
he still offered to do it.
Ned was
Well,
at a
then here we
meeting
go, then.
last month or so,
I
he
saw him at
offered
the
to do
post
it.
office the other day, he checked in to make sure I didn't need anything.
Oh,
Alright,
No,
well then
Ned-
maybe we
Ned
can
is
put
a-
him on
he's really
this,
good.
on this committee,
there we go.
right?
I-
If
I'll ask
you
him.
agree just to do this, he's not on the whole budget thing, just on this
But he can
piece.
explain
Thought process.
the thought process and
Oh,
what,
heck,
you
yeah.
know, the work he put into it.
Right. Pretty
Because we don't need to
self-evident,
reinvent the wheel here,
No,
right?
no, no,
You know, a lot of the groundwork has been done.
though. Okay. Alright, so then,
Okay.
moving on, it's 8 o'clock, let's keep moving.
8 o'clock, we gotta rock.
Health
My bedtime
insurance.
is 8:15, so.
I guess you're not going to bed on time
No,
tonight.
Karen.
Sorry. Health
Oh.
insurance analysis. Joe,
Oh.
this is you.
Hey,
Keep it quick, Joe, no.
this is a complex topic. Linda did send around the reports and the spreadsheets
Yeah.
and thoughts. And I know we're getting late, so I did do a quick executive summary
I
on
don't
the report.
think 15 pages counts as a quick executive summary. That's a pretty
It's only the
thorough
first
analysis. Oh, you're talking about just the first page. I say it's a pretty thorough analysis.
No, after the last meeting, I went through, started researching, where the costs are going, that type of thing. Health insurance premium costs are outpacing inflation every year.
I don't think that's a surprise to anyone.
No, I know. I mean, we all go to the doctor, hospital, we know how expensive it is.
Right.
And, over the last 10 years, average premium for family coverage far outpaced inflation, 47% versus 30%. And what I did to do the budget estimate this year, I looked at federal programs, Medicare, Medicaid, Obamacare, and private insurance to see where what to expect for premium increases for 2025. And some of the numbers, it varies. On average, employee-sponsored health plans are expected to rise by 9% in 2025. I looked at all across the country, different personnel boards, that kind of thing. California's looking at an 11% increase. PwC is projecting an 8% year-on-year increase. In New England, I was looking for data closer to home here. Now, Blue Cross Blue Shield is proposing average rate increases of 16.3% for individuals and 19.1% for small group plans. I guess the point I'm trying to make here is the costs are going to go up significantly for 2025. Linda and I spoke yesterday. We don't have the rates yet for 2025.
Mid-October.
It'll be mid-October. So I based it on 7% and like a 10% increase. Obamacare is going up, a median price increase of 7%. Medicaid is also going up about 6%, so I think we can probably expect something in that range.
Let's see, yeah.
So, looking at the bottom of your executive summary, you've got the options laid out, or several options laid out. One of them, as you know, it's changed to a lower cost, higher deductible plan, and Linda, that's the research that you provided, right? Was one of the, staying within the current health insurance, but just switching to one of that?
To a higher, right.
Yes.
We did some numbers, if we had done that this year, what the savings would have been, and it was $100,000 difference in premiums by going to a higher deductible and a little bit higher of a copay.
But you got to keep all the same doctors and
Correct, we
everything
didn't have
else.
to ask anybody to change from Anthem.
And that would impact the HRA, would just make that bigger, right?
That is another option to help
Which still-
offset.
Right, we,
Still offsets.
and like Joe was saying earlier, that we're lucky that most of us are pretty healthy, so we don't dip into the things that we would have to use our deductible for, because
Yeah.
anything that's healthcare maintenance kind of stuff, there's no charge for, doesn't hit your deductible. They, if you have your physical every year, just get it, stay healthy. And Health Trust is really good about offering all kinds of different programs for, all the way from mental health to even financial help, help you if you feel like, not to help you with finance, but to help you work through how a better way to work your own finances, right? All those kinds of things. And that helps your mental health, which.
The current plan
We can all use that.
Is in this
is
year.
offered by Health Trust, which is a group of municipal New Hampshire. It serves the towns and cities of New Hampshire. It's like a pool.
Exactly.
And the plan is the Anthem Blue Cross Blue Shield AB 15/40-PED. The cost this year, total town cost is about $335,000. If this same plan is kept for 2025 with a 7% premium increase, we are also adding one new employee, I believe the new police officer, right? Would that be his for the 13 or
There was gonna be, yes, there would be two
extra employees?
right.
Two employees.
Two employees who would be getting, insurance.
Okay, so I have
Which-
13.
So would we go from 13 to
Public Works,
14?
Please.
We
So-
would
Go from 12 to
11
14?
We would go from 11 to 13. Health,
We are-
health insurance would go 11 to 13.
Okay, because right now we're saying that we have 12.
No, there's 12 people who get dental.
Yeah, there's 11
There's
getting
11 people who get
the health insurance.
health
right
insurance
now.
and 12 who get dental. And that'll go to 13 people who get health insurance and 14 people who get dental.
Okay, so, but I ran the numbers based on a 7% premium increase and a 10%. So we're looking at $407,000, which is a 21.5% increase, if we keep the same exact plan. And under 10%, it would go up to $419,000, but a 25% increase. That includes adding the additional employees. So it does, it makes the jump look bigger, the percentage increase.
That's with the current plan, that's.
This is, the first sheet is if we keep the exact plan we currently have. Linda also looked at, again, Health Trust offers a different plan. It's Anthem Blue Cross Blue Shield. It just has higher deductibles and co-pays.
And not remarkably high.
Not remarkably, no.
Right now, it's a $15 copay, would go to $25, and personally, even as a person who gets the health insurance, I
Yeah.
still think $25 is very reasonable for a copay.
And the advantage we'd have there is we're looking at a cost savings of between $127,000 and $131,000. And that's maintaining an excellent health plan. The Anthem Blue Cross Blue Shield is a very good plan, as Linda was saying. But just by increasing the deductibles and co-pays, we have a significant cost savings.
And we'd still be taking care of half of the deductible.
Yes,
for the
which
employees.
is, I want to make that
HRA,
point because
HRA.
I looked at that. Linda provided me data on the HRA. And currently the town employees are reimbursed 50% of the deductibles,
If we use it, right.
if used, but we haven't been using it. And this year, we just looked at the numbers on the expense so far, it's like $2,400 or $2,300. So, the fact that we do have the healthy employees that aren't filing claims, it could really save us money on the plan for 2025. Yeah, that's, under the current plan, it's a $15 office copay, $40 specialist, $1,000 and $3,000 standard deductible per person family, maximum $5,000, $10,000 per person family. We could go to the other plan, the alternative plan that Linda identified, has a $25 copay off for a doctor's office, $50 for a specialist, and $3,000, $9,000 standard deductible per person family, and a maximum of, which is identical to the higher cost plan, $5,000, $10,000 per person family out-of-pocket expense. And the cost for 2025, which would include the dental plan, would be $280,000 versus $407,000. So I think that is it's a great option. I also looked at, the school uses a program, it's from a company, you have it here, School Care.
Okay.
It's 3 different Cigna health plans. It's yellow open access with choice fund, yellow open access no choice fund, and orange open access plan. I looked at the cost, Linda provided the cost per these plans, and they're almost identical to Health Trust. We had spoken about previously, hey, let's look at the school plan, maybe we could roll in under that. There's not a significant cost savings there because the school care plans are Cigna really good health insurance too, and they're very expensive. So I think the best option is to go with the Anthem plan with the slightly higher increased deductibles and co-pays. That would be the way to go.
And once we get the actual numbers.
Once we get the actual numbers,
We'll
but
have some.
that seems to be the largest cost savings, 120 to 130K this year. One topic that also came up is the amount that the town employees pay towards their premiums. And currently, they pay 5% to help offset the cost. And this is well below the national, state, and local government contribution averages. In 2023, the average was 14% for single-person plans. In a family plan, the employees paid on average 29%. And
That's a
I-
lot, I feel.
I think, the school pays 13%.
11.
11%.
The employee, I was just talking to them about this tonight, the employee pays 11, the school pays the other 89.
Yeah. I have
So they're an 11.89 split.
Yeah.
And that's in their negotiated agreement, their collective bargaining agreement, which is
We're
actually under
negotiating right
negotiation.
now, so,
Right, they're
so
negoti-
perhaps that could change.
So, yeah, so the question is how that comes out, is that gonna be higher, is it gonna be lower, whatever, but I would think it's probably not, the split might not appreciably change, but, you know,
So they're currently bargaining?
Yes.
they're currently bargaining.
I'm on that team too.
What's that?
I'm on that team also.
Oh,
Yes, aren't I lucky?
So you have a sheet here that shows what that would look like if those, I'm gonna call them splits, if those splits were to change.
Yeah, it's the second to last page.
Yeah.
Yeah, I ran the numbers for, the current 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14%. And what I'd like to just bring up is, if we did go from current 5% to 8%, what the impact would be on the employees, right? People, we need to know that. We just don't want to throw a number out there. And I calculated if we maintain the Anthem Blue Cross Blue Shield plan, and we increase from 5% to 8% employee monthly contribution, single person plan would go from $57.15 to $91.39. So, we're talking a $35
A month.
increase per employee. So it's not a huge financial hit for the employees.
Was that for the family plan too, or is
The
that
family
just for the-
plan, two-person coverage would go from $114.83 to $183.73. Family plan would go from $155.02
It's not on the chart, it's
to
in, it's in his
$248. It's in my
narrative.
write-up.
Gotcha, okay.
So,
It still seems like a lot of money to me.
So if I'm looking
I
at,
would have a cut in that
so if I'm looking at your
as a regular person.
second and third to last pages of your spreadsheet, the current health trust plan, let's see, just do family plan, I guess. The employee contribution is 5% is $14,882 per year is what the employee contributes. Am I reading that right?
no, it's not that high.
Okay, then I'm reading something.
Estimated
Okay, single
7
person under the current plan would, their 5% is
$685.
$685.40 a year.
Right, and then the family plan though is the $14,882 per year?
That's for all 8 people.
That's for all 8, I believe.
Thank you. That
Yeah,
makes sense.
sorry,
All right,
I
so-
It's
should've-
not per person.
There's
Okay,
8 people.
So we're kind of, then I'll kind of dial it back down to the single person.
Yeah.
Because that's where I did. All right, so if,
And they're pretty comparable if what am I trying to say? 1 person, 2 people,
Oh,
3
right.
people, so.
Yeah, because they sell
Yeah.
single coverage, a two-person coverage, then the family plan.
so hypothetically, looking at going from the current plan to the other plan that Linda identified that has the higher deductibles but lower premiums, and going from 5% on the current to employee contribution 8%, it would go from $685 to $749. Do you see what I'm saying? If we went from 5% contribution on the current plan
Right,
to 8% contribution on
a
the
new plan,
other plan,
an updated plan.
yeah, then it goes up by $65 a year?
$468 to
No, if I'm going
$748.
from, I'm double jumping. I'm
Right.
going from current plan at 5% to new plan at 8%.
Okay, so it's $468 versus
Nope,
$740.
if we're talking the 685 and the current plan at 5%.
But that 685 is
For sing,
It's for a single
plan.
person, but it's also includes a 7% premium increase.
and then,
So you can't compare the current plan, you'd have to compare the current plan with the 7%. with
Yeah,
the
that
7%
includes the
Joe
7%.
included it, Joe included it.
7% increase.
Estimated 7% premium.
So that's that
increase.
green, this is the green one you're looking at.
I'm looking at these two.
Yeah, I didn't run color.
Yeah, but I ran the numbers, the family plan would increase from 155 to 248 per month.
Right,
So we're talking, yeah,
so we're looking at
45
the,
$90 a month.
so the employee contribution that we're looking at, that is per year, or that is?
Month.
So
Per
it's-
year. That's your total cost per year.
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
That says
so,
per month, oh.
so employee contribution currently, on the current plan, but accounting for a 7% increase, is $685.40 per year for a single person.
That's their contribution.
And then when you, if we go to the newer plan, again, it still accounts for 7% premium increase. But the cost of the premium's going down. So if you increase the employee contribution and you still compare single plan to single plan, you're going from $685 to $749. So it is a $65 difference per year. That the employee would take a $65 hit.
Per year is much.
Cause that's divide
single
65 by
plan.
12 months.
Right,
I
for a
can't do
single
that math
plan.
right now.
Right.
We
And
go
the
from this one to
majority
this
of
one.
our family, right?
Okay,
We've got 8 family. and
Yeah, the monthly
7
family
and 4.
would increase by $95 or so.
a month.
A month, that's a lot of money.
But you know, the national average is 14%.
We're still
to 20
6%
We're
below the
only,
national average.
currently, we're at 5%.
And I was gonna say, 5% is unsustainable going forward. The long-term cost with healthcare, with the town paying 95% and the employee paying 5%, when the state average is also 14% across the
And the
state.
school's paying 11%.
I know.
I know,
I'm well
I know,
aware
it's
of
not
all of
cheap,
that.
it's expensive.
Can I offer us a thought?
Yes,
Yeah,
no, yeah,
absolutely.
that's, yeah.
If next year, if we decided to go with the higher premium plan, there would be out-of-cost expenses that the employees would be paying, because we're paying a little bit extra for our copay or those kinds of things.
Mhm.
If we didn't change the percentage for next year for the employees' contribution, but next year make a plan so that all of our employees will know that in 2026, you're gonna be at 8%, because we will save a significant amount of money next
No, I
year.
agree. Mhm.
At least
And
give
then
them
the
some time
following
to
year, we'll
think about
already
it,
have
right.
something, an ace in the hole to say, we know we're gonna save at least another whatever percentage, because the employees will be kicking that portion in too.
Is there an opportunity to perhaps meet in the middle of that and not go to 8%, but go to 6%
Oh,
this year?
well,
And,
and-
yeah,
I'm just
No.
throwing it out there,
Yes,
so
yes,
it's
right.
entirely up to what the selectmen would like to do,
well,
but,
that's true, too. We can only advise.
Right.
I'm just saying, because,
It's almost like a CIP for health insurance. Take a little
It
bit of a
is,
hit,
it is,
and
yeah.
then
Yeah.
another little bit of a hit next year.
you know,
right?
but I mean, because, yeah,
Staggering the impact.
yeah, and, I mean, there is something, actually, you have 5% that the employees pay for their dental. The employees don't pay anything
Anything for
towards their dental, with the exception of families. So if,
The
so
employee
for
pays
instance,
nothing, you pay
the
a
town
certain.
pays
for the-
all of mine, but I pay all the extra to have Josh on my plan.
Okay, I
And
understand.
it works the same way for the family. So there's, and that's written in the personnel policy that the town pays for the employees' portion. Not saying that can't change, I'm just saying that's the way that is right
Well,
now.
and that's
And-
such a smaller amount.
It's such a small,
Oh,
small
sure.
amount, yeah.
But in the scope of things, like, we're looking at
Right.
the whole picture, because saying, the beginning of next year, once town meeting's over, we could start looking at something to say, okay, employees, look, this is how we're gonna be moving forward now, this is what we're gonna do, it's gonna be 8% this year or next year, and
Yep.
I'm just,
10% 2 years after that, or whatever,
Uh,
whatever the plan
some
looks
kind
like,
of,
so.
sure, an incremental increase so that
Yes.
you're not,
Yeah, no, that's.
No, I agree. I ran the numbers so we could see what the impact would be, and that's my concern, what's the impact on the employees? But the largest cost savings will be just staying with Anthem, but going to the higher deductible plan. And one of the,
From the, going from the 1030 or 1020 or whatever the heck it was.
yeah, we've saved 120 to 130K.
right.
And one thing I think we need
Oh,
to
15
remind people is, you know, the town has a great health reimbursement arrangement, HRA, where 50% of the health insurance deductible is paid by the town.
And that's the
And
max you can have per
The
lot.
max, yeah, which is, it's a great financial cushion in case of a major medical issue, right? Because the insurance does have that $5,000, $10,000 person, family, you know, maximum out of pocket.
Which won't.
But the HRA covers half of that.
Half of that.
Right, which is a great deal. And the cost of the HRA over the past 6 years has only been $3,300 per year. And so I think it's a great benefit at a fairly low cost, and it provides that additional cushion if we do raise the deductibles, right? So, you know, it's a win-win, right? The employees aren't getting stuck with higher deductibles because they have the HRA to fall back on.
Joe, did you include, or do I have to just do some dividing, because you have the annual cost per employee, so family plan, 37,000. And then you have the number of employees.
What are you looking
And then you, sorry, third to last page, cost analysis, current health trust plan. So the first numbers we have, a family plan for an individual employee, 37,000.
37, yeah, that's
Yeah.
next year with a 7% premium increase.
Yeah. So then when you have the employee 5% contribution though, you don't have what that then individual with a family plan pays for their 5%, and then what the town pays for their 95%. Do you have that
Oh,
anywhere?
the total of
He
the.
just totaled them,
it-
yeah.
Yes, but if,
It's a total.
but I wanna make sure we're, taking into account the impact to the employees.
Yeah, I should have added a couple other columns
So-
on there.
The 14.
So we have to divide by
82,
8, yeah.
Divided by 8?
Yes,
We can do that right now.
yeah. That's true, I should have broken it out.
14,882.59.
Yeah, because I broke it down by
Right.
annual cost per employee, but I didn't break out the 5%.
Yeah, cause we wanna.
So if you multiply 37,000 by 5%, that's for the family plan.
Yeah, anyway, so that's numbers that I would wanna.
Okay, no, I
Make a
understand.
decision too.
It comes out, if you take that 14,882 and divide it by the 8, it's 1,860.
And can
For an
you,
employee,
do you mind dividing that by 26?
divided by
Divided
26
by
pay
26
periods.
pay period.
Just to see what actually
Gives
comes
you
out of it.
71.55.
$71.55
paycheck.
per
Not
pay
each
period.
Per paycheck. Yeah.
Well, per paper, yeah, 2-week paycheck.
That's under the current,
That's not a lot.
that's what
That's
the
accounting
7%,
for the 7% increase.
7% increase, under the current 5%.
Yes,
don't
within
make a
the
lot.
5%.
You know,
No, well,
if you compare it to Medicare, Medicaid, you know, it's going up at 6% again. You know, you have people making $1,800 a month on Social Security, and they're paying their Medicare out of that, and it's over $300 a month.
Right.
You know, it's going up to like $180 for the
So
basic,
71.
and then you have the supplement and the prescription coverage, you're talking over $300 a month.
Families?
Out of an
Also-
$1,800 check.
Also, Medicare is only 80%.
Yeah, and it's only 80%. So we have seniors in town paying 25% of their social security checks to just cover their Medicare.
But when they get an increase,
No, I know,
No, but
but you
again-
know, we have our seniors have a huge financial burden every month. And then, you know, we look and go, wait, our employees are paying 5%, you know, of a premium plan that has basically zero deductibles with the HRA and stuff. So, no, we need to strike a balance here.
Again,
Yeah.
yeah, the choice is that we have to,
Right.
we have to find a balance.
Mhm.
It's not sustainable to maintain
Right.
only 5%, 5%, 95%, it's just not.
Mhm.
And, I mean, I wish it were. I wish that healthcare costs weren't outpacing
Right.
inflation
Oh, I know,
and
it's crazy.
COLAs and everything
crazy.
else, because it's insane. But it is, and so from a taxpayer standpoint, when you have most of your citizenry in the town paying on average 14%, and then, you know, if we were to maintain this, our taxes will go up. Now they're paying a higher portion of whatever income they have left into taxes. It's not sustainable. You're gonna force people out of town. People are gonna lose their houses eventually.
Well, you know, I looked.
They have to
and-
make choices now between
Yes.
heating, healthcare, food, and, you know, and anything else, so.
I know, I'm one of those people.
No, I know.
Right.
We're,
No, I
we're all
get
on the
it.
same
I
boat.
get it.
I mean, you know. And if
So-
we do nothing, you know, if we go, we're staying with the status quo, current plan, and this is with a 10% increase this year, which is gonna be very close. You know, we're looking at next year, it'll be $419,000. By
Almost a half a million.
2033, we're talking $630,000, an 87% increase.
Mm.
You know, I mean, you look at it's unsustainable,
It's crazy.
you know, and.
So anyway,
We-
I am, again, not advocating
Yeah.
that we shift the burden and say
No, no,
our
neither.
employees need to pay 14%.
Right.
I think that's unreasonable, it's
Right.
unrealistic,
Mhm.
and it's unfair. Okay, but I think shifting that burden a tiny bit, maybe a percentage, maybe not go to
Right.
8%, maybe go to 6 and a
Right.
half, that kind of piece of it. I think we need to maybe rerun those numbers and take a look at it, but I think this committee needs to take a look at
You need to
that.
get the rates first.
Right.
Right.
Once you get the rates, then you.
Yeah, this was all based on a 7 or 10%.
Right.
Correct.
We don't know what the actual numbers are
They're
gonna be
gonna be.
for,
Right.
for
Alright.
2025.
So, I do think we need to make a recommendation, because obviously we don't control which plan, the selectmen will decide that, correct?
Oh, yeah.
So,
But we need to be able to make a recommendation to them that, whatever change we advocate for.
so kind of using that example before of going from the 5% to 5% current plan, 8% new plan. We just said it was 71.55,
71.55,
a
yeah,
paycheck for a family plan,
yes.
current at 5%, new plan at 8% would be $77.86.
$6 a pay period.
Yes.
That's a Starbucks.
Right.
No, that's what I mean, you go to Starbucks,
Right.
it's $6 for a
Right.
coffee.
Or if you get a venti iced chai latte, it might be a little
I
more.
don't know about that, but.
I don't know, Starbucks?
No.
I know.
No, we're using Starbucks at home, we.
Yeah,
Yeah, I know.
Right.
Oh,
We
yeah, no, I buy
splurge,
the
but-
I buy the concentrate that Starbucks
know,
uses.
I go to
This
your
is,
house
uh,
when I wanna drink Starbucks.
You know, this is,
K-pop's like $3.50. K-pop.
you know, managing healthcare costs, whether in government or industry, this is a very complex and challenging
It is,
problem.
it is.
You know, the costs are so high.
It's awful.
I mean, but whether you're on Medicare or private insurance or, you know,
Right.
state-provided insurance, whatever.
Yeah.
So-
I mean, it's becoming unaffordable.
It's awful,
It's
right? It's
awful.
not right.
And I don't know, how do we,
I don't know.
manage this?
I
So
don't
I feel
know.
like the next step though, like, so if hypothetically we went from that 5 on the current, 8 to the new, it's only $6, but as Lynn points out, there are going to be other costs with those higher premiums. And did you say that they are able to kind of generate a report, you're able to pull a report kind of on what we used for this past year, so we can,
You mean-
Yes and no.
Okay.
It's not, no, we're in a pool, we're in the under 50 pool,
yeah,
so it kind of gives you an overview of that pool.
okay.
We do have numbers for Madison for like what we used for the smart shopper stuff and the ways that you can save money.
Okay.
But yeah, I'd have to.
I don't know if there's any
look
way to calculate as closely as possible based on the past year, how many office visits were there, and now they go up from 20 to 25, like,
I see what you're saying.
to
Oh,
calculate
like a-
that
Yeah.
difference.
I see.
under
Because
the-
of
I'd have to
additional
check, 'cause
employees.
like I say, I see what you're saying.
So-
So
like, say
this
had-
year, I went to the doctor's 5 times and it cost me times $15, but next year it would be an extra $50 because if I went the same amount of time, it would cost me more.
Yeah, if you go to the
Exactly.
doctor 3 times during the year, it's
Yeah,
extra $10 a visit. Yeah, what's it
because
come up to?
if that shows that,
Mhm.
that that great,
We're
that $6
already-
per paycheck is actually when you take into account the extra for the office visits, then that goes back to what you're saying of more smaller increments and increasing.
What, I
With
think it,
some notice in a sense, because I mean, really, we're at October by the time you actually change the personnel policy to say that everybody has to pay extra. I'm not saying it's not
Yeah, no, no, no,
insurmountable, but, you know, we'll be telling everybody, you know, in December that, oh, by the way.
Come January.
Yeah.
FYI.
You know.
Right.
oh, I know, that's, oh, I don't know, there's no easy solution to this, but if we don't do anything,
So,
Well, I
a large percentage of
Oh,
the
and-
town budget is gonna be paying for, health insurance premium.
I personally think we can't do nothing.
Oh,
Right.
yeah,
We
I
have to
agree.
do something.
can we get employee feedback on the proposed, like the two options maybe?
Well, so we haven't agreed on what the two options are.
No,
But yeah,
right,
just
but
hypothetically,
just talking out loud with some of the people
Yeah.
that I work with myself.
yeah,
The whole idea of going to a little bit more of a copay and a higher deductible is not like, no torches and pitchforks are coming out.
That's what I was afraid of.
No,
yeah.
no, but
Right.
Yeah.
it's a very personal thing, especially if you have some kind of chronic illness
Oh,
that we
I
don't know
know.
about, and to
Right.
say to you,
Right.
which is why I want feedback.
And
Right.
from the people that
That's nice.
I spoke to,
Yeah.
it's not something that like freaked them out.
Okay.
Because they probably just realized that's the way it
And
is.
we do also offer an FSA,
Yes.
that
Yes.
that the
Flexible
employees can put,
spending account.
right, so
Mhm.
we
Right.
can put up to $1,500 a year into that
Mhm.
tax-free.
Yeah.
And there's, I think, 5 of us that take advantage of that. So, and it could be more than $1,500, but, and then you put yourself out to
You're at
risk
risk
of paying it
losing
out
it.
and not.
Yeah.
Again, personally, that amount of money is a decent amount for two of
Yeah.
us.
No.
I mean,
Yeah.
granted, I have already blown it all, but, you buy one pair of glasses and
Oh,
you're
I know.
$500 is
They
gone,
did.
but.
Contacts,
Um,
even my co-pays to the dentist and stuff when I had them. When my son had orthodonture, I would sit down in October of every year and start to look at what are the costs, the healthcare costs that I had out of pocket, prescriptions, any of that kind of
Sure.
stuff. And what was that? Let's create a spreadsheet. What do I think I'm gonna have? And if you have young ones, then your childcare costs are in that as well.
And
so.
I can actually go onto the Health Trust website, log in under myself, and it'll tell me everything that I spent this year.
Right.
So they offer a lot of good tools
Right.
to,
Yeah,
Mhm.
to help you manage.
yeah.
Right, so I think we need to create a going forward posture. I think that especially for now, the 11% and 14% is a bridge too far.
No, I ran that just to show you
Absolutely.
what the numbers would be.
So,
Yeah.
but I do think, like, the upper end would be 8%, and I think anywhere from showing incremental from 5, 5.5, 6.
I can
6.5,
update this to
7.
give us.
Yeah, to give us
based on our
those kinds
discussion.
of numbers. And then when we get the real numbers, we can update it again to show the real numbers. But this gives us at least an idea of where we might want to sit with regard to, so that the conversations can start happening with regard to, this is what we're gonna expect for, again, we have to talk about 2026, what might happen for 2025. It'll be a small increase for 2025. And they would have to change the personnel policy, I would presume, to show 6% as opposed to 5% kind of thing.
When do you expect the hard numbers for next year? October, you said?
Mid-October.
Yeah, mid-October.
Mid-October? So by the
3
time
months.
we meet again, we'll probably have some
Well,
numbers.
we actually have another meeting on October 8th.
Yeah, but once
But
I'll
that's
work with
regular
Linda, we
budget
can,
stuff.
we'll update
Yeah, and that
Based
doesn't have
on-
to be on her.
the latest numbers and we'll look at the 5 to 8%
Yeah.
contribution range.
Between,
and
yeah,
narrow
by
it
half-
down
by
and-
half- we're
and
half
break it
full.
down a little bit, yeah.
Increments, yeah.
So if
But,
I understand, there are 4 basic variables though. The first variable being
Which plan?
premiums, yeah, which premiums. 'Cause I think we've kind of ruled out going to
Staying with the
different-
same one? No.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
So staying with current,
Health
no.
trust,
and then change to a new healthcare provider was a second kind of option variable.
Yeah, but I think we ruled out
Okay, good.
the
yeah,
healthcare providers.
school care
Okay.
plans are not competitive, they're
No.
the same
Okay.
price, there's no cost savings.
Right.
I think we've
Yeah.
discussed moving to the different
Yeah.
moving to the different level
Yes,
within
within.
Health Trust.
Yeah.
But we all
Going from-
agree that we're gonna stay with Anthem, right?
Yes.
That
Anthem,
seems to
Blue
be the
Cross
best
Blue Shield.
approach.
Well,
with,
especially
Anthem.
if people have specialists
That's
or
one
any of those
decision.
kinds of
Yeah,
things
yeah.
that they're
Anthem's a
seeing.
great plan, Blue
Yeah.
Cross.
Oh, yeah.
So.
Your
so that's the-
doctor won't change. You won't have to change your doctor because you're staying within the
Well,
same
it's worse than
healthcare
that, if
provider.
you change insurance, it's
Oh, it's a nightmare.
a nightmare.
Yeah,
You
yes,
don't wanna
I
go
agree.
through
Well,
that. That's
talk
not-
about
No,
the
we don't-
benefits
no, no.
manager who has to get all those people on the
And I think the point we need to really emphasize too, if we go to the Anthem Blue Cross, the higher deductible plan, your maximum out of pocket is $5,000 to $10,000 per person family. It's the identical to the higher cost,
Right, that's
Right.
not gonna change.
Of which
So
you'll
that-
actually only have to pay half of
and we only pay
because of the
half with the
HRA.
HRA.
Right.
So, yeah, I
So
think
you
it's
have to
a,
get over $2,500 in deductible in order to start to feel it in your own pocket.
to feel it in your own pocket, yeah, so it's win-win. And based on Linda's data from the HRA for the last 10 years or whatever, 6 years,
Yeah.
we're only,
5, 6.
we don't have many claims, it's
No.
$3,200,
But
$3,300
like I
a
said,
year.
the majority of things are covered, like your,
Right.
your regular your regular
Mhm.
checkup and,
Right.
those, your blood work, those kinds of things are all covered.
Are all covered.
And I
Okay.
do think actually though with this new one, it's got the POS is called in there or
Point of ser-
something, so
point of
point of
service.
service, yeah,
Yeah.
so you can, if you have to get blood drawn, and if, instead of having it done at, maybe at your doctor's office, if you went to, like a,
You can go out of
Lab
network,
Corp.
but it's still
Like
like
one-
partially
yeah,
a
covered
lab
or
place,
something.
yeah.
what's a,
Quest,
or something like
Quest,
that,
lab
then
something.
there's no fee anyway.
Yeah.
You know,
Right.
so as the person who has the insurance, I can manage it better for myself too.
Yeah.
I don't have to pay the copay if I wanna drive, 5 minutes down the road.
Alright.
Okay.
So anyways, it was changed from lower cost to lower cost higher copay, then we're not changing healthcare provider, employee contribution, and then that was the other variable, which Joe's gonna pin that down, and then HRA deductible, which likely will stay the same.
Yeah.
So it
Yeah,
sounds like
I'm
we've
not
really-
suggesting we change the HRA.
Right, so
Yeah,
it sounds
that's a
like
good
we've
point.
really narrowed it down to lower cost, and then a small window of deductibles.
But there's a significant cost savings.
Yeah, $130,000.
$130,000 a year,
Alright,
potentially, depending on the new rates.
Sure.
so that's significantly narrowed down, so I think that's good.
Is that reasonable?
Yeah.
No, I
okay.
know, this isn't an easy topic to,
Right. So we
Yeah.
can do the numbers and then run it by the employees and make sure that, just get their input. It sounds like Linda's gotten good feedback.
Yeah, from the
Alright.
few.
Can you, when you speak with Health Trust, for the rates for 2025?
Yeah.
Can you get the rates for both the higher,
Oh, yeah, yes.
Oh
yeah, they'll send us all of them.
yeah, both, all the options, so we can
Right.
actually see,
Say if we
Right.
stayed
And
with
go.
this, it would
If
cost
we
this, if
stay
we changed it, it would go to
no
this.
status quo, here's what it costs, the lower,
Oh, yeah,
and
they'll
then
send
we'll
us.
show the cost per employee and that
They'll
type
send
of
us
thing.
everything to give the selectmen the option to. choose
Okay,
what they-
that's,
And from what I understand too, which I don't know was an option before, we could offer our employees to stay on the plan they are on, and we could offer the other plan, but you could do something like, fine, you can stay on what you're on, but you're gonna pay the difference.
You're gonna pay that higher
The whole,
cost.
that,
if you want
you know.
the premium plan,
Right,
you
I
pay
mean,
the extra
but-
$40 a month or $50 a month,
But,
whatever.
I mean, our HRA is kind of telling that I don't see that we have anyone who would necessarily have those kinds of expenses that you
That's the
wanna
reason
stay on the
I
regular,
kind
you know,
of looked at the way I did, going, we're not filing a lot of claims.
No,
We're only paying a fraction of what's budgeted in
Mm-hmm.
the HRA every year,
yeah.
so.
Okay. Anything else? I wanna move on, it's 8:30.
Thank you,
No, I know, we're getting late.
We're losing Sarah.
I
She's
know,
kinda-
sorry.
No, that's okay.
Other
And
business?
we're gonna lose Paulette. Other
It was
business.
very interesting, thank you.
So Linda, you had sent us.
Did you have, wait,
What,
public comment?
Did you have a?
Public
yeah, did you-
comment, Paulette?
Paulette, did
She's
you?
been here this whole time.
But I just agree that, the employees need to pay a little bit more because I'm, at that age group that I don't get the pay raises.
Mhm.
If I get 2%, then they charge me 6% on Medicare.
That's right.
Right,
Well,
so you're
so
losing
it-
4%.
Yeah, and if the employees, if you stay the way you are, then it's our tax dollars that are paying the extras. you know?
Right.
Absorbing the cost of the increases.
Right, so here
Well,
goes my
Your
tax dollar.
purchasing power is going down every year too.
Yes,
That's right.
definitely.
I looked at the federal Medicare information, and it looks like the cost of living adjustment for 2025 is gonna be about 3.4%, you know, for your social security check. But the Medicare premiums are going up 6%.
Right.
So it's a wash. They're
It's not a
giving-
wash, you're losing
Yeah,
5%.
with inflation, you're losing money.
Yeah.
So, again, our seniors are paying more out of pocket for their
Exactly.
monthly, you know, health insurance premiums.
And you know, they
No, it's
only get
only
healthier as
80%.
they age and don't need as many services.
No, I know,
right? So,
but,
Yeah.
Right.
And it's only
Thank you.
80%.
all right, Paulette,
Yeah.
Thank you,
thank you.
Paulette.
Thank you, Paulette.
It was very, I've been wanting to come and, you know, just to figure out what's going on and for my own personal knowledge.
Can you tell us?
Thank you for everything that you all do because you work very hard. All right, have a
All
nice
right.
evening.
Good evening, good night.
Okay,
Okay.
other business. In the so you had sent to us, I don't know, maybe a month ago, a little over a month ago, that ambulance contract.
oh, yeah,
Yeah,
I haven't had a chance to look at it.
yeah.
I read
One
through
of-
the numbers.
That's okay. The one of the things that came out that was glaring when you read through the first couple pages is the fact that the ambulance company, Action Ambulance, is supposed to be sending a quarterly report. Can you tell me if they're doing that and are the selectmen getting it?
Yeah, I sent it to you. Didn't I hit go?
I didn't see a copy from
I didn't
the
see
No,
it.
I sent it just to you. I didn't realize that was
Oh,
a discussion
all
item.
right.
You sent that email asking, and
I don't remember seeing it.
I'm pretty sure I
They
hit
give you the
send.
quarterly.
I know we got
Can
one,
you- can you-
we got one in
January through
August.
The first two, January,
Yeah, 'cause
February,
we're-
March, April, May. June.
Because we probably don't have the third quarterly report yet, since it's not
No.
quite over.
Right, well, and actually, they've gone to a login with a live, you can hit a
So
link.
they're not
and it'll-
actually sending
And it'll
it.
bring you to, they did send me one in August with a note that said, now you're able to just go on there and you can click this button and it'll tell you what you're at up to date this year, like live. So as of the runs are happening there, it's updating, so.
Would you, I'll go back and look
And 'cause
to see if
I-
I had the August one. You said that.
Yeah, because I sent you the link and the August
Okay. I don't
report.
remember
I
seeing
thought
that.
I hit go.
But then again,
Send.
I was on some pretty heavy drugs through July and
No,
August.
that would have just
so-
been today.
Oh, today? Oh.
Yeah, when
I-
you, to your email today. I
No,
didn't
I've
send the
been
report.
gone all day, so I may not have seen it. Okay, so yeah, so the quarterly report, if I do have it, I'll forward it to the rest of the rest of the budget folks.
I have a
Budget
couple
committee.
of questions too.
Sure.
Did I think I read this right. Are we signed on for another 5 years?
Mhm.
That's unfortunate. Who oversees this agreement? Is it over?
Selectmen.
Huh?
The
Selectmen?
selectmen?
So they go to calls and find out whether or not we're actually getting what we're paying for? And the reason I'm asking this is because the protection level that we're receiving here in Madison is less than what we were receiving in 2013 and before. And I have a few examples of that. It's disturbing to think that we have we extended the agreement another 5 years, and there are elements that are in other communities' agreements. We have a master agreement, and each town has an agreement.
An addendum, right. There's
Right.
certain things that they wanted.
And there are a couple of glaring things that we don't have in ours, and I don't understand why they're not there.
Can you,
That would be
So
something to
did we
take up
talk
with the
about
selectmen.
who negotiates this? It's Mike Brooks and
Mike
there
Morrow.
was someone, Mike Morrow?
I don't know if the word is negotiated. They attended the meetings that all the towns went to.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They were our representative, but ultimately it's the selectmen's decision whether or not to sign the agreement.
So I guess I don't understand the process. So we just get this copy of the contract and do we as a town, do we as selectmen have the opportunity to go back and say, yeah, no. I see that,
Oh, sure.
Tamworth, Effingham and Albany are all getting this. We want that too.
Sure. Well, not now. I mean,
Yeah.
it's, you know,
No,
but
they
yes,
signed
during
it,
the
but-
process, it took this is months of meetings, and all of them happened in Freedom, and, yeah, to negotiate all of that, or review everything and.
Who
all that.
negotiated? I mean, I know, I understand all the towns got together, but who actually negotiated the agreement with the contractor?
It was all the towns at that meeting. I didn't attend the meetings. I really don't know the
No,
mechanics
right.
of it,
Right, you
so.
can't speak of it.
So who's the best person to ask that question? Is that Mike? Because he attended the meetings?
Well, probably.
Both Mikes? Two Mikes? Mike Morrow, Mike
At the
Brooks?
time, right, Mike Morrow was going as the selectman, and Mike Brooks was going as the fire
As
chief.
the fire chief, yeah. I just, when I look at the number, again, bringing this back to the budget, I look at the number that's in the budget, and it's a pretty hefty number. It's,
Sure.
$300,000+. And I'm a bit concerned about the level of service, and I'm gonna make this personal, but only because the comment was made to me while I was seeking services from the ambulance. They made the comment that, and it was a little pain induced, so I have to kind of taper this a little bit, was something about not having a paramedic because that was not, they were only just this year adding paramedics to the ambulance for calls, but that that ambulance had not gotten there yet, so there was no paramedic that attended the call.
I don't know the details.
Yeah, I know. Well, and I'm just saying, to me,
even
that's.
how it works, not just the details of any particular call, I just
Right.
don't know.
So to me, it was like, well, wait, why wouldn't we have a paramedic when you are attending a call? Because you don't always necessarily know what you're getting yourself into.
And that's the ambulance company,
That's-
obviously,
But
right.
that's the contract with the ambulance
Right.
company, because it says basic life-saving services and advanced life-saving services. I would think basic life-saving services is what they sent, and the
I think it would
advanced.
depend on the call too. I don't think you're gonna send a paramedic to every call.
Well,
Should.
that's what they were
Right.
That's
talking
what you
about.
were
They
getting
were-
before 2013.
Right, and that's what they were
Right.
talking about, was what the new contract specified, that they would be sending paramedics, but that they didn't have qualified
send.
paramedics to send at the moment. So I guess my question is whether or not, from a budget standpoint, are we getting what we're paying for? Is the level of service that a Madison resident can expect the level of service that the contract dictates, because who's verifying that? And then, is it what we're paying for? And if it's not, then what recourse does the town have to go back to the ambulance service and say, hey, you're not living up to your end of the bargain?
Or treat them
I
as a
think
service, right.
if you
But
look
we
at
had
the
just signed a 5-year contract
Right.
with them.
if you look at the contract and you understand how those operate, we're getting what we're paying for. The problem is, we're not getting what we had before. They talk about advanced life support, ALS. Advanced life support is paramedic.
Hmm.
You didn't have a paramedic.
No.
You had an advanced EMT. They're trying to sell that to you as the answer. What they've taken in the EMT position, and they've added some advanced techniques that they can apply to you, but they cannot give you life-saving medication. They cannot take life-saving
Couldn't give
action.
me any
That's what a
medication.
paramedic does.
Yeah.
And there's this idea that they don't have to go to every call. I totally disagree with you on that. I've operated in 2 systems that have paramedics that go to every call. They don't use their skills at every call, but when they need to have, when you find a patient that needs paramedic level skills, and you have to wait another 15 to 20 minutes.
Crazy,
it just-
It's
right.
too late.
They staff their paramedic, as I read this, they staff their paramedic in Centerosopy. And they have an advanced life support ambulance there. That's the worst thing they could have for him. He should have a Tahoe or something with his med box that he can respond to calls and meet the ambulance that should be there. Of course, they never come in our neighborhood without going through Eaton. I don't know if they stop for lunch, but they're
do come on,
arriving.
so-
She was.
So, but
Right.
anyway, but, so,
Took
but
it to my-
tying this back to the budget again,
It is-
because that,
It is the budget.
it is the budget.
That's what you're paying for.
Right, so where within our structure currently, selectmen gray.
She
yeah,
wasn't,
Gray.
she wasn't part of this, by the way.
No,
It-
well,
It happened, this was signed
This
last
is long
year.
before.
last year, yeah. But where is the town's recourse if it feels that it's not getting what it paid for? And that's the question I guess I would ask the selectmen.
You have
Where's the
none.
recourse? Well,
The
There's
only,
nothing in
you're
the
in breach
contract
of-
that says
I
that.
don't know, I
there
haven't
is
gone
a
through the whole
community
thing.
with
yeah.
recourse, and it's Tamworth. And every time they violate the agreement, they fine $500.
But that's not in our part of the agreement.
Correct.
Each
I don't
town
know
has
why-
their own.
A little
But we
thing, and I don't know
don't,
why
so
it's
don't.
not in ours.
Okay.
Another one is, he, and roads,
Right.
and we don't have that either, and that's why we,
All right, so I think this is a subject, there's the monetary piece of it, but then there's the contract piece of it that I
Performance
think
part.
needs to, yeah, the
well,
performance
it's
part,
too
which
late.
is why.
You're
Well-
sucked in for another 5 years.
But maybe not if they're not doing what they're supposed to be
Correct.
doing.
And that's the question I would have for the selectmen, what recourse does the town have if the
Is there a
contract
better
is not
option for
being,
you? Right.
is not being.
Well, there's no better.
Right. I
Right,
know.
what I was gonna
That's what
say.
That's what the problem is.
That's why we
Okay.
would
Just
have
like
to
you
use
said, with
towns
the
to
police
try.
bank,
What are,
right, and with like
like town
we don't have any.
departments, like what
Nobody
is the
wants to be
police
police
policy for
officers wanna
responding
do
to
that.
calls? Do they respond to certain kind of
I mean,
calls?
not really.
I,
The-
I
I
thought
wouldn't
they were
want my
supposed to
fire
respond to every
department.
call.
No, number one.
No, but when they're on
We
duty,
don't have the staff.
Right,
I don't know,
So,
they're not.
I don't know.
they're not-
Scary.
yeah.
and it's not worth it.
so. Okay, anything else under other business?
And
No?
We lost our public comment, she left.
Right.
She got in.
She got in
She got it,
comment.
yeah, she did it earlier.
That's right.
All right, well then, with nothing left to discuss, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn, and our next meeting is scheduled for October 8th.
So
Mr. Judkins, seconded by Joe Dame, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank
It
you,
is
everybody.
8:50 PM. Oh yeah, exactly, 8:50 PM.
Meeting just ended.